Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Konoha, Homemade Eye Technique Plugin. Chapter 1, Konoha 55, Fire Country, Konoha Village. Uchiha Nanhi walked expressionlessly on the road back to the Uchiha clan on the edge of Konoha. 7 years have passed since the Night of the Nine Tails, and the streets of Konoha are now thriving. It seems that the ruined Konoha village caused by the Nine Tails has long gone, and no trace of injury can be seen anymore. Pain remains. Although on the surface it seemed that everything had passed and no one mentioned it again, in the eyes of Uchiha Nenga who was passing by, there were invisible accusations left behind after the war. Haha, they say time is the best medicine. It can heal all pain, kill all hatred, and dilute any emotion. What an ironic scene. Uchiha has been patient and willing to take a step back, but it has been 7 years since Uchiha gave in. The 7 years of compromise has not allowed Uchiha to gain the trust of the village's senior officials and villagers. On the contrary, the suspicion and hatred have become more intense. It's no wonder that in the end Uchiha would risk another ninja war and launch a military coup. To make the confident Uchiha endure to such an extent, Uchiha Fugaku, the clan leader, still has some abilities. Quote, however, even Uchiha Fugaku may not be able to continue to suppress the opposition within the clan. In other words, the night of annihilation is not far away. It seems that I can't delay it any longer. Facing the countless indifferent, hostile, fearful and endlessly malicious eyes around him, Uchiha Minami began to mock in his heart, but his face was calm, and at the same time, there was a trace of urgency in his heart. After all, the current time is very close to the night of genocide in the original plot. Although Nanhi doesn't know the specific day, it has been a long time since the clan discovered that Uchiha Shisui committed suicide. In addition, the Anbu has been mobilized more and more frequently recently, so it is estimated that the night of genocide will be within this month. Speaking of which, the name Uchiha Nenga is also because Nenga's home is next to the Nenga River, and Nenga was also born there, so his parents gave him such a name. Uchiha Minami had a premonition that in the original work, Uchiha Shisui was attacked by Shimura Danzo and finally committed suicide. Uchiha Minami also went to the lower reaches of the Nenga River and stayed there for a long time, but he didn't know that time was running out. It's still in the wrong place, anyway, I can't even see the shadow of the roots. It's such a pity for Uchiha Shisui. Although he is loyal to the top management of Konoha, he also takes Uchiha into his heart. What he seeks is for the family and Konoha to live in peace. At least he is better than Uchiha Itachi, the filial son. It's much more humane. In the end, I stupidly chose to commit suicide in an evasive way when I couldn't have both. The reason was that I believed too much in the top management of Konoha. I was stupid enough to tell the truth about my own trump cards. Just forget about ordinary trump cards. He didn't realize at all how fearsome his trump card, Betagongami, is, otherwise, Uchiha's situation wouldn't be so bad. With his thoughts at this point, Uchiha Nanhi couldn't help but think of the story about the rise of the Lich King that he saw before traveling. Just as the prophet said to Arthas, the more you want to save your people, the more you push them into abyss. Uchiha Shisui's behavior was not wrong in the first place. He just wanted to protect everyone and at the same time maintain the small family. He put all the burdens on himself. This burden made him strong and outstanding, so excellent that even Sarutobi Hiruzen he praised him as, he is worthy of being a descendant of the mirror. But he ignored the natural fear of the Uchiha clan that the top brass of Konoha, headed by the Hokage, had. The better Uchiha Shisui is, the more vigilant and fearful Konoha's top brass will be. At that time, Konoha White Fang was famous in the ninja world, surpassing the 3 ninjas, and was also granted the qualification to wear the Hokage half-sleeve. In the end, it was not because of the fear of top brass that he was besieged by rumors, ended up committing suicide with Mingzi. What's more, you, Shisui Uchiha, are still a member of Uchiha who is deeply feared by the higher-ups. The most embarrassing thing is that another equally talented Uchiha Itachi comes out later. One of them has not yet gained trust. You have another one. This one appears. What should Konoha's higher-ups do? We can only be more wary of a clan like Uchiha with endless geniuses and no control over them. It has to be said that the previous Uchiha have always been in peace, and there is also the reason why Uchiha has never shown a strength that makes the higher-ups fearful since Uchiha Madara. On the night of the Kyuubi, everyone saw the Sharingan in the Kyuubi's eyes, and added Kamushimura Danzo's coveting of the power of the Sharingan fanned the flames, causing Konoha's top brass to distrust Uchiha. Under this situation, you Uchiha didn't choose to keep a low profile, and you even took the bug-like kaleidoscope of another god and dangled it in front of the high-level officials of Konoha. As a result, this problem was not over yet, and another Uchiha Itachi emerged from the crowd. The fact is that these two overly talented Uchiha pushed their family into the abyss. What's even more ridiculous is that Uchiha Shisui is not only stupid and naive himself, but also cultivates Uchiha Itachi to the point where he is even stupider and naive than him. Indulging in Hiruzen Sarutobi's brainwashing dream of having the Hokage's mind since he was a child, Uchiha Itachi, who has a strange brain circuit, finally figured out that killing the clan would protect the peace of Konoha, avoid war, and allow Uchiha to the Bo clan does not want to bear the reputation of traitors. This is such a stupid conclusion. It's a pity that Uchiha Shisui instilled the idea of the Konoha family into Uchiha Itachi, but forgot to instill the obvious idea that the Uchiha clan is also a part of Konoha. It can be said that a good hand was played badly. 3 pairs of kaleidoscopes. The Sharingan was also manipulated by others to wipe out the clan without any effort, and there was no one reliable on our side, which made Uchiha Minga not know how to complain. Well, if I had enough time, whether it was to improve my strength to break the situation violently, or to plan ahead and plan for victory, why would I be so passive? It's a pity that it was only during this embarrassing period that I awakened the memory of my past life. Uchiha Nanhi shook his head and shook these chaotic thoughts out of his mind. Now he still has to seize the little time now. Otherwise, I, who has just awakened the memory of half a year, will be hung up on the following night of genocide. I'm so sorry for my status as a time traveler. In his previous life, Uchiha Minami was just an ordinary office worker. When he caught up with the popular way of time travel, which is sudden death while working overtime, all the things in his previous life were a thing of the past. In this life, Uchiha Minagawa's parents had already died early in the Third Ninja War, and he also had a popular orphan start. Now, at the age of 11, he is not as ostentatious as Uchiha Itachi, and is still a graduating student from ninja school. Uchiha Minagawa was reborn in his mother's womb, but he did not awaken the memory of his previous life in the previous 10 years. Only some memory fragments appeared occasionally, and there was no way to sort them out. It was not until his 10th birthday that he fully awakened the memory of his previous life. I clearly understand my current situation. Thinking back to half a year ago, Uchiha Nanhi also felt a sigh of relief. Facing the death of Shisui and with Konoha's top management closely monitoring the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Nanga had no way to escape. Therefore, anxiety filled his entire life. No one knew that he was facing certain death. Bureau, there will be a collapse mood. It was also because of this kind of collapsed emotion, coupled with the huge mental power brought by the soul memory of the previous life, that Uchiha Nanga directly upgraded the Sharingan from 1 Magatama to 3 Magatama. After all, Uchiha Minami was reborn through time travel. Although he had not awakened the memory of his previous life in the past 10 years, he has a complete soul and is naturally different from ordinary people in terms of mental strength. He opened the Sharingan early and is a member of the Uchiha family. Little genius. I have to sigh, Uchiha is a clan favored by God. As long as they awaken the Sharingan, the blood inheritance limit, their strength will grow rapidly. This is the case for Uchiha Minami. After awakening the 3 Magatama, Uchiha Minami has the potential to quickly reach Junin. The 3 Magatama Sharingan can not only greatly strengthen the taijutsu illusion, but also through the copying function of the Sharingan, quickly master various ninjutsu. You can get bonuses in all 3 aspects of Ninja Phantasm, and chakra will also be improved by turning on the 3 Magatama's soaring mental power. Therefore, almost all Uchiha who turn on the Sharingan will get the name of genius. With the powerful blessing of the Sharingan, Uchiha Minagawa woke up and gained some courage to fight against his future destiny. Uchiha Nanga was overjoyed, but also had some small regrets. Why didn't you advance to the Mangekyo Sharingan? But just think about it. Uchiha Nanga also knows how difficult it is to directly access the Mangekyo Sharingan. In the original work, those who opened the Mangekyo only experienced the severe mental shock of an important person dying in front of them. Yes, although my mood had fluctuated violently just now, it never reached that level. According to the original information, the opening of Mangekyou's eyes is due to the synthesis of a special chakra in the brain under extreme emotions, thus promoting the evolution of the Sharingan. Moreover, this evolution seems to be related to the overall strength of the person involved. For example, Uchiha Sasuke only opened the Magatama when all his clan was dead. This Magatama can only be used freely after graduation and the mission to the Land of Waves. Uchiha Haobito also opened the Sharingan on the battlefield after graduation. And their qualifications are very high, but opening their eyes requires physical growth. Therefore, Uchiha Nanga guessed that if the Sharingan wants to reach the next stage, its overall physical fitness needs to reach a certain level. In the ninja world, there are only a few training directions that can finally carry the weight, including taijutsu, senjutsu, time and space ninjutsu and sealing techniques. In the end, only those as special as Uchiha Obito are left. The Mangekyo Sharingan and the Rinnegan, and in the later stages of the original Fourth War, even the wood release became a common shield technique used by Uchiha Madara in memory of Senju Hashirama. So, in the end, we still have to rely on the Sharingan. After all, the night of genocide is just around the corner. Physical skills require years of training. Immortal skills are unavailable and dangerous. The three holy places are not necessarily so trustworthy. Time and space ninjutsu and sealing is such a delicate and profound thing that no one can teach you and you can't learn it on your own. So, the top priority is to first master the improvement brought by Sanmagatama, and then prepare for the promotion of Mangekyo. Only by advancing to the Mangekyo Sharingan can I have the key to break the game. Uchiha Nanhi narrowed his eyes slightly, feeling the chakra surging in his body, and his eyes became sharp. After all, with Uchiha's current situation, he can't rely on anyone, and he doesn't dare to rely on anyone. The only one he has left is himself. With no golden finger appearing for so many years, the Mangekyo Sharingan has become his only choice. As long as the Mangekyo Sharingan is awakened, not to mention being tough with Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Obito, at least if they don't deliberately target them, they can still escape in advance. His thoughts returned to the present, and Uchiha Minami also returned home. After closing the door and window, he carefully took out a sealing scroll from his arms. Feeling the chakra filled with negative emotions emitted from it, Uchiha Nanga couldn't help but show a satisfied smile. This was the result of his hard work in the past 6 months. The key to a new life. Since awakening the three Magatama Sharingan half a year ago, Uchiha Minami has made a plan to collect his own negative emotions, and the props he collected are naturally the seal scroll in his hand. Uchiha Minami is a little genius in the clan. He has opened Sharingan early and has certain authority in the clan. It is very simple to obtain a sealing scroll that can seal chakra. After all, it is a sealing technique. All have the function of sealing chakra to a greater or lesser extent. I have to admit that the existence of chakra is very versatile. It is not difficult to develop this kind of sealing technique that can preserve negative emotions. After all, chakra is originally synthesized from mental energy and physical energy, and even the shadow clone that carries consciousness exists. It is very easy to carry some negative mental energy. These chakras full of negative emotions are the source of Uchiha Nanhei's confidence in opening his own Mangekyo Sharingan. In order to prevent unnecessary mistakes, he collects all the negative emotions he generates. At the same time, in order to gain enough negative emotions of his own, Uchiha Nanga would wear clothes with the Uchiha clan emblem printed on them every day and wander around Konoha village, masochistically feeling the villagers' disgust for Uchiha to stimulate himself of negative emotions. After half a year of collecting, the negative emotions sealed in the scrolls can already be felt from the outside. And Uchiha Nanga's physical fitness has completely digested the improvement brought by Sanmagatama after half a year of mastering and training. Now that everything is ready, all that remains is to awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan through the negative emotions in the scroll. Then, just recharge your batteries and adjust your condition now, and start trying to awaken my kaleidoscope at night. Otherwise, if I have to wake up uneasily every night and watch the filial son Uchiha Itachi suddenly appear in front of me, I will have a mental breakdown sooner or later. After eating hastily and setting up the soundproof barrier, Uchiha Minami quietly recharged his energy. As night fell, Uchiha Nanga slowly opened his eyes after adjusting his condition. I have been preparing for this day for half a year. Now it's time to verify whether my guess is feasible. Will it create a cornerstone that stands on top of the world, or will it be a corpse that collapsed on the night of genocide? He stood up to check whether the arrangement was complete. You must know that Uchiha Nanga has a plan to attack his spirit with huge negative emotions. There will definitely be a loud noise during this period. At this time, he does not want to alert anyone to disturb his awakening process. Seeing that everything was arranged without any omissions, Uchiha Minami did not delay. After making up his mind, he directly opened the seal on the scroll and absorbed a large amount of chakra full of negative emotions into himself. Boom! The moment he finished absorbing it, Uchiha Minami felt as if there was a boundless sea surging towards him in his consciousness, and countless waves of negative emotions almost directly submerged his reason. Moreover, these negative emotions were originally his own, so with the surge of these emotions, his current consciousness also responded, as if he was in the scene where these emotions originated, actively breeding more negative emotions and empathize with them. The generation of these emotions originally came from Uchiha Minagawa's desire to survive, so these negative emotions extracted based on the goal of survival also strengthened his own will to survive, so even if the negative emotions were so raging, they were slowly absorbed by Uchiha Minagawa. The ground resisted, always maintaining the last trace of survival instinct and not completely lost. I don't know how long it took, but Uchiha Minami, who was exuding a terrifying, cold, and evil chakra aura, his originally calm face turned ferocious, and the three Magatama Sharingan eyes in his eyes were also spinning crazily. Gradually, the three rapidly rotating Magatama began to connect end to end, and then quickly spread out to form a brand new pattern. At the moment when the pattern was completely formed, Uchiha Minami also regained his clear consciousness. There was no need to feel too much. Uchiha Minami understood that the only way to wake up under such a powerful negative impact was the Mangekyo Sharingan. The awakening was successful. While rejoicing, I silently sorted out the chaotic mental consciousness just now. After some repairs, I was able to experience the beauty of this pair of Mangekyo Sharingan. This feeling, is this the power of the Mangekyo Sharingan? I feel the sublimation of consciousness, so strong. Even these negative emotions that have not dissipated have to obey under these eyes. This is also the reason why I can wake up. Maybe the tailed beast is restrained by the Sharingan for this reason. The gap between the three Magatama Sharingan and the Mangekyo is really huge. They are simply not the same dimensional power. No wonder both Uchiha Obito and Uchiha Itachi looked down on Uchiha after awakening the Mangekyo Sharingan. Other people of the same race, this power is indeed worth being proud of. Finally, I finally succeeded in awakening the Mangekyo Sharingan. Now, as long as I am familiar with the improvement brought by the Mangekyo Sharingan, it should be more than enough to survive this night of genocide. I opened the Mangekyo Sharingan at the age of 11. Such an achievement is no worse than that of Uchiha Itachi, the filial son. Now when I think back to the 6 months since I awakened, it's really like a dream. Then, let's see if my guess can be realized. With the kaleidoscope eye technique, maybe I don't have to escape at all. As long as I can succeed, we will fight Uchiha Obito and Uchiha Itachi. For Uchiha Nanga, having read the original work of Naruto, he has many advantages over these natives of the ninja world, and this information is enough to be used as a golden finger. Not to mention the deeds and personalities of each character, Uchiha Minga can also get all kinds of confidential information, even top secret information other than those he knows personally, and knowing this information allows Uchiha Minami, the time traveler, to avoid after passing through many traps. I can reach the highest level in the ninja world without taking any other detours. The previous seal scroll was an idea that Uchiha Nanga came up with based on the zero-tail technique of the second Hokage and Tsunade's yin seal. Don't underestimate this idea. Everyone in the Uchiha clan wants to open their eyes, and after opening their eyes, everyone wants to advance to kaleidoscope. During the Warring States period, there was a precedent of tribesmen attacking their relatives and friends in order to advance to the kaleidoscope. If the Uchiha people at that time knew this method, most of them would be able to activate the Mangekyo Sharingan, and there would be no such bloody history. Compared with the information about opening the Mangekyo Sharingan, Uchiha Nenga paid more attention to another information, which could even create cheating abilities. That is the Mangekyo Sharingan, also known as the pupil of the soul. At the moment of awakening, the Mangekyo Sharingan will respond to the truest desire in the heart of the awakened person at that time and form the corresponding pupil technique. For example, when Uchiha Obito saw Kakashi piercing Hirano Lin's heart, he opened the Mangekyo Sharingan. Because he didn't want to believe it was true and hated himself for not arriving at the scene in time to save Hirano Lin, he awakened the divine right eye that escapes the world and the divine left eye that opens space remotely. Uchiha Shisui wanted to change the minds of the village and people so that everyone could live in peace, so he awakened other gods who could change other people's minds, and so on. In order to make full use of the spiritual portrayal, when collecting the negative emotions used to awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan, Uchiha Minagawa added a strong psychological hint to the target eye technique in each negative emotion. In order to avoid being like Uchiha Shisui, he clearly wanted to change other people's minds, but he got a different god that could only be released to one person alone, and it actually required 10 years of cooling time after use. This was very confusing. Obviously, one or two people changing their minds cannot change the overall situation at all. This also shows that there are limits to the Mangekyo Sharingan when it responds to wishes. Therefore, Uchiha Nenga had to find a wish that the Mangekyo Sharingan could grant, and the safest way was to find it from the many known pupil techniques. In Uchiha Nenga's heart, the most favorite ones are the other gods and Kamui, but the cooling cycle of the other gods is too long. Even with the assistance of Hashirama cells, I am afraid it still needs constant intervals to activate. The power of Kamui is obvious to all and can be used as an alternative. The other is the pupil technique of the Rinnegan, but after all, the Rinnegan is a higher level than the Sharingan. Without great confidence, Uchiha Nenga does not want it. A emasculated version of ability. After choosing, Uchiha Nanhi suddenly thought of a rather special pupil technique that requires the Sharingan to be performed, and it is the ultimate pupil technique called the Sharingan. In the dark and quiet room, the two dots of scarlet are extremely bright. If you look closely, they are a pair of scarlet-based eyes. The black three-edged shuriken divides the scarlet into 3 parts and rotates counterclockwise to form an undercut, like a windmill-shaped eyeball. Yes, this is Uchiha Minami's Mangekyo Sharingan. At this time, the windmill-like Mangekyo Sharingan was slowly rotating, adding a touch of mystery to his already handsome face. Suddenly, a smile appeared on Uchiha Nanhei's originally thoughtful face, which then turned into laughter. Ha ha ha, it's true. It's worthy of being called the pupil of the soul. Compared with Uchiha Itachi's Amaterasu who can't burn people to death and Tsukuyomi who can even break Sasuke's curse seal, this is what I call the pupil technique. After receiving the information conveyed by the Mangekyo Sharingan, although he had already expected his pupil technique, Uchiha Nenga could not help laughing at this time. This feeling of pride has completely released all the pressure and grievances accumulated in the past 6 months of awakening memory. I must be proud. This pressure not only did not crush myself, but actually achieved my obsession and awakened this pair of extremely powerful Mangekyo Sharingan has unlimited potential. You know, Uchiha Minagawa has been preparing for this moment after determining the pupil ability of the Mangekyo Sharingan to be awakened. Unlike other Uchihas who awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan, they were all shocked and confused when they awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan. The Mangekyo Sharingan could only extract his vague wishes at that time. When Uchiha Nenga awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan, the large amount of negative emotions had long been mixed with a firm spiritual desire. The Mangekyo Sharingan also directly extracted this wish and responded to it, and this response must also be something that the Mangekyo Sharingan can do. Uchiha Nanhi also relied on this to get the pupil technique he wanted as he wished. The left eye is called Izanagi and has the power to turn reality into reality. In the original work, this is the ultimate pupil technique that requires at least 3 Magatama Sharingan to be used. During the time when this technique is performed, it can transform all realities that are not conducive to itself into dreams. It is the ability that can reverse life and death. This technique once shined in the hands of Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Obito, changing the fact that they failed, allowing Uchiha Madara to plan the reincarnation Eye and Eye of the Moon plan, and Uchiha Obito from the 600 billion detonating talisman. Get away. And Danzo has carried this technique forward even more. The Sharingan on the entire arm completely uses the 3 Magatama Sharingan required for this technique as a resurrection coin. No one can kill him until the Sharingan on the arm is used up. As for the pupil technique of Uchiha Nanga's Mangekyo Sharingan, it has become a pupil technique that only needs to consume the power of the pupil without consuming the Sharingan. In fact, before awakening, Uchiha Minagawa had guessed that during the battle between Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama in the Valley of the End, they had used Izanagi on themselves, and wanted to use Senju Hashirama on them. Judging from the fact that his lifespan was greatly reduced and he died not long after returning, Uchiha Madara should have used his own eyes at that time, otherwise he would not have had the chance to change his own eyes with that kind of fighting intensity. But after that, Uchiha Madara still awakened the Rinnegan eye in both eyes. This means that when the Mangekyo Sharingan is reached, it is possible to recover after using Izanagi, whether it takes a long time to recover or because of the promotion of the Rinnegan eye. It has just been restored, but at least it is a possibility. Therefore, Uchiha Nanhi did not hesitate and directly chose this eye technique without thinking about Kamui again. And Uchiha Nanga's right eye is Izanami, who is equivalent to Izanagi, and has the power to turn reality into reality. In the original work, this is still a pupil technique that requires the consumption of Sharingan. After this technique is cast on the target, the other party can only recognize itself, or let the other party meet the requirements set by the caster. Get out of this technique. In the original work, we have only seen Uchiha Itachi use this technique, pulling Orochi Kabuto into a cyclic dream, completely changing Orochi Kabuto's thoughts. It was not until Yakushi Kabuto found himself that he got out of the cycle. Judging from this battle, compared to the famous Izanagi, Izanami achieved results at the same cost, which seemed to be somewhat outweighed by the losses, which also made Izanami somewhat unworthy of its name. But in Uchiha Nanga's view, perhaps it was the situation at the time. Uchiha Itachi felt that it was enough to achieve this level, so he did not show the horror of this pupil technique. After all, after Uchiha Itachi's introduction among them, Izanami is the ultimate pupil technique that can turn dreams into reality. This is also in line with the secret of the yin shield that uses the spirit of the palm to create form out of nothing and create a form from the invisible. The Mangekyo Sharingan is also the embodiment of the yin shield. As this ultimate yin shield eye technique, it is entirely possible to achieve. Similarly, when performing Izanami, the power of the eye is used instead of the consumption of the Sharingan. These two pupil techniques alone are bug-like abilities, but in Uchiha Nanhei's view, this is far from the highest pursuit of this pair of Mangekyo Sharingan. The reason why these two abilities are so highly valued is naturally because it was mentioned in the original work that only a pair of kaleidoscopes can unleash the true power of the Mangekyo Sharingan. This information was reflected when Kakashi fought against Kagaya. Kakashi, who was originally just playing tricks, was able to force a 50-50 split after obtaining the twin powers of Uchiha Obito. Uchiha Nanga speculated through the performance of Uchiha Obito's pair of kaleidoscopes before and after that two kaleidoscopes with similar abilities can complement each other and thus sublimate stronger abilities. Uchiha Obito's divine power is essentially just having a unique divine power space, and then having the ability to open and close this space. The subsequent virtualization, teleportation, and distorted space are all based on this foundation. The two Kamui at the back combined the far and near and strengthened them to the extent that they could cause trouble in front of Otsutsuki Kagaya, thus achieving Kakashi's highlight moment. Therefore, from the revelation that the two divine powers complement each other and greatly enhance the use of space, Uchiha Nanhi also speculated that Izanagi and Izanami must be able to combine their original abilities to form a way to transform virtual reality. Izanagi can no longer only use it on himself, but can also transform other things into dreams. Izanami can not only transform thoughts into reality, but also transform things in dreams into dreams. In reality. Of course, the pupil power consumed must not be small. Haha, it really worked. This is the correct way to open the Mangekyo Sharingan. Those who open the eye passively are just a waste of natural resources. Whether they are other gods or Tsukuyomi Amaterasu, they are all already formed external pendants. The potential for growth has essentially been lost. Only Uchiha Obito accidentally created a pair of kaleidoscopes that complement each other. Haha, maybe it wasn't an accident. After all, his Mangekyo Sharingan was opened under Uchiha Madara's script. As his own, the spokesperson needs to assist you in completing your plan, and you have to give more or less guidance. After experiments, Uchiha Nanga finally confirmed that his double kaleidoscope pupil technique can be used in a complementary manner, and he no longer sticks to the original monotonous method of use. All basic abilities include becoming invisible and avoiding death. If no matter the cost, it can even distort reality to the extent of creating creation from the void. When Uchiha Minami cursed others for squandering their natural resources, he felt good both physically and mentally. He felt that now he had the qualifications of a time traveler, a golden finger or something. In this world where chakra is omnipotent, as long as there is enough information, there is no golden finger. Fingers, I can also make myself one. With the self-made plug-in, Uchiha Nanga realized that now is the time when the sea is wide enough for fish to leap, and the sky is high for birds to fly. He no longer thinks about anything else. After figuring out the application of virtual reality transformation, he goes to do things. So, Uchiha Nanga picked up the scroll that had no negative chakra on the ground, looked at the seal pattern on it, and the windmills in his eyes began to spin. When Uchiha Nanhi focused his pupil power on those seal lines, he activated his pupil technique, trying to turn these seal lines into illusions. But in an instant, Uchiha Minami's chakra and eye power were somewhat depleted, and the lines on the scroll also started from the center of the focus and quickly disappeared from the inside out. Uchiha Nanga first carefully checked the condition of the scroll. It was still intact. Then looking at the lines on it, only a few dots of ink remained on the edge of the scroll. In general, it was a success, but I still need to practice the control accuracy. Now it seems that breaking the seal should be very easy for me. After all, the seal is like a sophisticated electronic creation, it can appear anywhere. If there is a problem, it will lose its proper function. Uchiha Nanhi closed his eyes and carefully sensed the consumption of his own chakra and eye power. After a while, he opened his eyes helplessly. It can only be said that there are gains and losses. Such a powerful ability will definitely consume a lot of chakra and eye power. Currently, due to age, my body has become my shortcoming. It seems that I have to solve this first. The problem is, I don't want to be like Uchiha Itachi, who was dragged down by the Mangekyo Sharingan at a young age. Well, this isn't too difficult to solve. I will take action sooner or later in my plan, so let's call it early, but I have to try first to see if this method works. Without saying much, Uchiha Nanhi stood up and walked to the kitchen. Since he decided to open his eyes today, Uchiha Nanhi was fully prepared. Uchiha Minagawa came to the kitchen and walked towards the cage placed in a corner. Several rabbits in it shrank nervously in the corner when they saw someone coming. Uchiha Minami didn't show any mercy and took out the two rabbits and picked them up. Kunai shaved off a tuft of hair at the heart of one of them, cut off a piece of flesh from the other rabbit, and put him back into the cage. There is no time to deal with your injuries now. I originally planned to let you all conduct experiments, but considering the burden of eye power and chakra on the body, this is the only way. I hope it can be successful in the first time. After thinking for a moment, he quickly threw a soldier food pill into his mouth, opened his Mangekyo Sharingan eyes, and the windmill started to rotate. In an instant, Uchiha Minami and the rabbit and flesh in his hand became illusory. The next moment, Uchiha Minagawa brought the rabbit in his hand to a fantasy space. This space was the dream space formed after Uchiha Minami awakened Izanagi and Izanami. This space seems very unstable, also because this space is not in reality, it is a temporary dream space. Whether it is Izanagi or Izanami, they all pass through this space when they need to be transformed into a dream. It's just that when the Sharingan performs this pupil technique, the operator cannot feel this space, but when transforming the dream, it is completed through this space in an instant. And Uchiha Minagawa, with the help of the double eye technique, can enter this dream space that is unique to Izanagi and Izanami for a long time. In this dream space, Uchiha Minami is a god and can control the dream world, everything of. Uchiha Nanga was going to materialize the rabbit and the piece of flesh and blood into this dream, and conduct an experiment that was completely under his control. After success, he would try to turn it into reality. If it could still survive, it would mean it worked. In just 3 minutes, Uchiha Minagawa appeared in the kitchen again with the rabbit. Looking at the shivering rabbit that ran to the corner again, Uchiha Minami smiled happily. Ha ha ha, it worked. Uchiha Nanhei's excited voice sounded in the dark room. Although Uchiha Minagawa was very sure of success, this was the first experiment after all, and the process was extremely rough. It was inevitable that some accidents might happen. However, thinking about the operation in the dream space, Uchiha Minami didn't have any worries. Put the rabbit alone in a new cage, feed him some food, and prepare to observe it again tomorrow. Although he used the kaleidoscope eye technique to forcibly fuse the cells of the two, the rejection reactions were transformed into mutual adaptation. Without other interference, the cells can successfully adapt to each other. Not much chakra was wasted from the virtual to the real, which shows that the experiment can be completed in reality, but after all, they are two individuals, and Uchiha Nanga does not know whether new adverse reactions will occur in reality. Uchiha Minami arranged the rabbit and returned to the bed in the bedroom. His thoughts gradually focused on future plans. Since he fully awakened his memory half a year ago, Uchiha Minami has been living in fear of the night of genocide, desperately trying to put everything in. After opening the Mangekyo Sharingan, there is no extra thought to make other plans. Now, he has finally emerged from the shadow of the night of genocide. It is up to him to stay or go. With the abilities he possesses now, as long as he is not careless, there is almost no one who can threaten him in this ninja world. Even if he cannot defeat him, he can. If you can escape, you can really say that everyone in the world can escape. So, what kind of person do I want to be? Now in this world of extraordinary existence, everything is possible. Should I pursue immortality like other seniors and stand at the top of the ninja world? Or should I be like more seniors and promote red ideas in the ninja world? Or find a partner who is neither beautiful nor ugly to enjoy the countryside? Well, as others say, you know what you want when you toss a coin. Sure enough, I am not the kind of guy who keeps to himself. Besides, over the years, I have gained some experience in the ninja world. Relatives and friends that I can't let go of. In this world where life and death are blurred, parents will have to be resurrected sooner or later. Coupled with the Fourth Ninja War, which is destined to be unrest in the future, and the arrival of the Otsutsuki clan, whether it is in time or space, they want to live quietly. You can't do it even if you are a reclusive expert. Then we can only improve our own strength and then unite with the ninja world to fight against the Otsutsuki clan. As a time traveler, if you don't have the ambition to be the first in the world, how can you still be considered a time traveler? The plan has been decided, and Uchiha Minami is no longer timid. 1, 10, 48, Roots and Anbu. Konoha's top brass have really worked hard to dispatch so many monitors. I'm afraid there are more Anbu in the security department. Come on, maybe every Uchiha who opens his eyes will be followed one by one. Uchiha Minami's figure was like a phantom, quietly exploring the entire Uchiha clan. You must know that Anbu are the elite of the elite, and that is the sharpest and most useful knife in the hands of the Hokage. The Roots are also a group of madmen who have no emotions and don't care about life and death. They are a group of madmen trained by Danzo. They are a force that is not inferior to the Anbu in the hands of the Hokage. Now that there are so many Roots and Anbu in the Uchiha clan, one can imagine how guarded the third Hokage and Shimura Danzo are against the Uchiha clan. In this case, it seems that we cannot easily alert the snake. If we kill them, it will definitely greatly stimulate the nerves of the higher-ups and trigger the night of genocide in advance. However, it seems that the night of genocide is not far away, maybe this month, and the nearest full moon night is still a week away. It seems that we need to be fully prepared in these 7 days. A flash of killing intent flashed through Uchiha Nanhei's eyes, but it disappeared when he thought of this. Although Uchiha Minagawa currently has the Mangekyo Sharingan activated, and his pupil technique is also very powerful, with these 2 kaleidoscopes alone, Uchiha Minagawa can be as innately invincible as Uchiha Obito. However, the Mangekyo Sharingan itself has flaws. If it is used too frequently or at high intensity, it will easily cause adverse reactions. In mild cases, the eyes will shed blood and tears and drag down the body. In severe cases, the vision will be blurred and blindness will occur. At the same time, besides being powerful, the Mangekyo Sharingan also consumes a huge amount of chakra. Judging from Uchiha Minami's current situation, battery life has become his biggest shortcoming. Once the enemy seizes this flaw, Uchiha Minami will have no choice but to use it. There is no other option but to run away. Sure enough, if you want to become a truly strong person and not be afraid of any challenge, you must not have any obvious shortcomings. The barrel theory is particularly important in this intelligence-centered ninja world. It was unintentional to stay here for too long. Uchiha Minami turned into a phantom and quietly came to a big tree with a good sight. He lifted the blur and locked a pair of kaleidoscope Sharingan eyes on the ordinary tree in front of him. Tree. You must know that after Uchiha Nanga's Mangekyo Sharingan is integrated, it can be used on other things to turn reality into void. Naturally, it can also distinguish the essence of current things at a glance. Therefore, Uchiha Minami directly locked the big tree figure in. These eyes are actually Mangekyo Sharingan. What is he going to do? Is he going to poop here? With an excited look on his face, Bai was quite confident in his hiding ability, and he didn't react immediately. He was discovered by the person in front of him. Of course, Baiju is still very persistent in the human behavior of defecation, so it stares closely at the person in front of it with a pair of eyes that are extremely expectant. But the next scene made Bai Zeze instantly panicked. The Uchiha in front of him actually smiled. Did he smile at a tree? No, he discovered me. How is it possible? How did he discover me? Baiju, who was in the big tree, was stunned for a moment, then immediately reacted and prepared to move immediately. But as soon as this idea came up, his eyes changed slightly, and before his body could react, the Uchiha boy in front of him suddenly let out a loud roar, and then, like a phantom, a hand directly broke through the outer layer of the tree. He suddenly grabbed himself hiding in the tree. But at this time, Baizetsu didn't have the slightest consciousness of being a prisoner. He still stared at the Uchiha boy in front of him with a confused expression, and the thirst for knowledge in his eyes seemed to burst out. Uchiha Nanhi felt speechless for a while and patted his forehead. TCH, even people like Uchiha Madara can't do anything to them, so I shouldn't have any expectations for such brainless creatures. Without answering Baizetsu's questions, he used his Sharingan to hypnotize him, grabbed him with excitement, and headed straight into the depths of the forest. Capturing White Zetsu was a plan that Uchiha Minami had set early on. For Uchiha Minami, who wanted to fully utilize the Mangekyo Sharingan, both White Zetsu and Hashirama cells had to plan, which would not only increase chakra massively upper limit, solves its own battery life problem, and can also make up for the shortcomings of the Mangekyo Sharingan's pupil power that cannot be restored. Just like the chakra consumed by the 3 Magatama Sharingan after using Izanagi cannot be recovered, Uchiha Minami's Mangekyo Sharingan cannot recover the consumed pupil power through a bug. To restore the pupil power, according to the current methods judging from the known information, there are only 2 methods. One person is promoted to the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, but the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan needs the Mangekyo Sharingan of a blood relative to complete it. Even if Uchiha Minami can fuse other Mangekyo Sharingan under the absolute control of the dream space, Uchiha Nanga didn't want to lower the upper limit of his kaleidoscope, so he had to find a pair of kaleidoscope Sharingan with enough potential and abilities that could complement his own pupil skills. The 2 are transplanted Hashirama cells. If you want to obtain Hashirama cells, only Danzo and Orochimaru are known to have stocks in hand. In addition, Uchiha Nanga guessed that there should be a small amount of Hashirama cells in the current White Zetsu body, between cells. The White Zetsu of this period was not formed by those who were immersed in the infinite Tsukuyomi thousands of years ago. Instead, they were cultivated by Uchiha Madara using Hashirama cells through the heretic golem, and received all of Uchiha Madara's heritage and Uchiha Obito. At this moment, the Baiju sent out must be the Baiju of this period. At this important moment before the genocide, Uchiha Obito would naturally send White Zetsu to keep an eye on the situation here, which gave Uchiha Nanga the opportunity to catch White Zetsu with Hashirama cells. Whether it is the White Zetsu transformed by the divine tree through the infinite Tsukuyomi thousands of years ago, or the White Zetsu created by Uchiha Madara using Hashirama cells through the heretic golem, they are all of the same origin. Senju Hashirama is the reincarnation of Ashura, the second son of the Six Paths Sage. Whether it is the reincarnation eye or the body of the wood release sage, it is closely related to the sacred tree. After all, Otsutsuki Kagaya, before eating the fruit of the sacred tree there is no reincarnation eye. This branch passed down by the Six Paths sage is more like inheriting the characteristics of the sacred tree. Therefore, no matter what kind of white Zetsu Uchiha Nenga fuses, it will be of great benefit to himself. The inheritance of the sacred tree seems to be very unstable. After Kagaya Otsutsuki ate the fruit of the sacred tree and opened the 9 Magatama reincarnation eye, among the 2 sons, the younger son Hamura Otsutsuki has steadily inherited the original power of the Otsutsuki clan. The white eyes are passed down from generation to generation. But the eldest son Otsutsuki Hagoromo degenerated into the Samsara eye without Magatama, and the son of the Six Paths sage Indra also degenerated into the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, and later the Sharingan degenerated to the point where the Mangekyo Sharingan was turned on, which is it has reached the upper limit, and this Mangekyo Sharingan cannot restore its pupil power, turning it into a defective Sharingan. From Kagaya Otsutsuki to the Sage of Six Paths, from the Sage of Six Paths to Indra, from Indra to the current Uchiha, it all shows that the power inherited from the sacred tree is always deteriorating. If you want to reach Otsutsuki again, with the height of Kagaya's 9 Magatama Samsara eye, these degraded abilities must be constantly replenished. As Uchiha Nanga, who was born into the Uchiha family, merging with White Zetsu was imperative. As far as he knew, there was some way for the White Zetsu to communicate with each other. In order not to expose himself to Uchiha Obito and Black Zetsu, Uchiha Nanga not only chose the location of the fusion in this forest far away from the clan area. Deep down, he even used the transformation technique to disguise himself, so he was still worried. Along the way, he also released the kaleidoscope's pupil power to wrap around himself and Baiju, interfering and shielding, and not daring to make the slightest mistake. Next, it's a more risky move. For safety's sake, let's set up a delayed Izanagi handle first. If everything goes well, remove the trigger. If something goes wrong, you'll still have a chance to start over. After thinking about it, Uchiha Nanga recorded his current state with Izanagi, set it to trigger 1 day later, and then took out the military food pills, preparing to restore himself to his peak. Time slipped away quietly, and Uchiha Nanga also adjusted his condition to the best. Compared with the previous fusion experiment with rabbits, this fusion of himself will undoubtedly consume more chakra and eye power, and the degree of precision must also be high. It will take more energy. Just do it. Now that he has made a decision and still has some backup options, Uchiha Minagawa is no longer timid and directly activates the Mangekyo Sharingan. When he mentions White Zetsu, the windmills in his eyes keep turning. In an instant, Uchiha Minagawa the Baiju in his hand disappeared from the spot. When he came to the dream space, Uchiha Minami had consumed more than half of his chakra. It is conceivable that after just turning reality into emptiness, White Zetsu, who was of average strength and showed no resistance at all, turned on the Mangekyo Sharingan and improved. Uchiha Minagawa, who has reached the quasi-cage level of chakra, has been consumed to such an extent that the abnormality of this pupil technique can be seen. However, the good news is that the chakra Uchiha Minami needs to transform himself is not so expensive. This forced Uchiha Nanga to quickly stuff 2 more Bingliang pills into his mouth. After swallowing the Bingliang pills, he used his absolute mastery of the dream space to start studying White Zetsu. As this by Zetsu, even the internal organs have disappeared. This cell structure is simply a miracle. It perfectly combines the advantages of animal cells and plant cells. There is no cell wall but there are chloroplasts, not only centrosomes but also vacuoles. There are even connections between cells. Is this the reason why Hashirama's cells can proliferate indefinitely and have strong vitality? Or is it because this type of cells is closer to the 10 tails? With the help of his mastery of the dream space, Uchiha Minami carefully analyzed the special features of White Zetsu cells and understood the reason why these cells are so powerful. Therefore, Uchiha Minami no longer hesitated too much and directly summoned. He took one of Baiju's palms and prepared to start small-scale fusion. Although the process seemed extremely rough, in this dream space that was completely controlled by Uchiha Minagawa, he was aware of all the changes. Under this absolute control, the cells of the 2 began their process of phagocytosis and fusion. In this dream world that is different from reality, the 2 palms slowly merge into one, turning into one chubby palm. Although they have merged into one on the surface, the cells inside them seem to have activated infinite potential. They attacked each other. Uchiha Nanga hurriedly used the authority to control the dream space to start guiding the two, trying to suppress their repulsiveness and enhance their adaptability. Time passed slowly, and the cells of the two slowly adapted to each other and began to engulf and fuse with each other. However, under the human intervention of Uchiha Nanga, this kind of experiment, which required a long period of trial and error and mutual adjustment, was surprisingly successful. Quick success. After a while, the first fused cell was born. With the first successful case, other cells seemed to have found the key point to fuse with each other, completing the fusion evolution of all cells faster than before. The new cells that were fused not only retained all the genetic characteristics of the previous Uchiha Minami, but also perfectly integrated the power of the white Zetsu cells, thus bursting out with amazing vitality. This is not over yet. These cells are even more closely connected to each other, actively transmitting information and energy to each other, and then, these cells very quickly begin to engulf and assimilate the cells on the arm that have not yet been changed. Those cells that were swallowed and assimilated seemed to be due to lack of energy. In order to complete evolution, they began to extract life force from other parts of the body. Seeing this, Uchiha Nanga quickly used his authority to stop this process. After a little thought, I understood the reason. The reason why the previous cells could complete the fusion and evolution of each other was because they were originally fused in pairs and did not need extra energy and material to complete the evolutionary jump. However, the new cells that have been assimilated now do not have these. Energy and matter can only be replenished from other parts of the body. This also reflects the terrifying nature of this kind of cell. If there is not enough energy material to replenish it, the vitality of the body must be drained. I am afraid this is also the reason why Senju Hashirama died early. Uchiha Nanga no longer hesitated, and directly summoned Bai Zetsu, who had lost one of his palms, to wipe out his weak consciousness, and began the process of complete devouring and fusion. However, the consciousness as the subject is separated from the body and watches the fusion and evolution between cells from above. After releasing the restrictions on the new cells on the palms, and adding the newly invested Bai Zetsu body, this fusion evolution was quickly completed. From the outside, there seemed to be no change, but when Uchiha Minagawa entered the body, he felt that the surging vitality in it. Sure enough, for me, who dominates this dream, the fusion of cell genes is not difficult at all. Besides, the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan both inherited the power of the sacred tree, so there is a high possibility of such a fusion. With such a powerful physical body, such surging chakra and vitality, if it can be completely transformed into reality and transformed into the real world, then the shortcomings of my kaleidoscope and insufficient chakra should be greatly alleviated. This is also true. It seems that Uchiha Minami's kaleidoscope eye technique can turn the illusory things in dreams into reality and transform them into the real world. However, with the current strength of Uchiha Minami, he still has to abide by the basic rules of the real world. Only things that may exist or be completed in the real world can be truly transformed into the real world, and the less changes are made to the things that are transformed from reality into virtuality, the less chakra is consumed to transform virtual reality into the real world. If it is a creation of the void, the consumption is simply immeasurable. To put it simply, Uchiha Nanga's transformation of reality from virtual reality is to fight against the rules of the outside world. The more things you create are contrary to common sense, the more they will be rejected by the universe, and the greater the natural consumption will be. It can only be said that the upper limit of Uchiha Minagawa's pupil technique ability is very high, but due to his own strength, he is unable to exert this function at all. He can only pay a smaller price and succeed in performing it by following the rules that can be achieved in reality. Therefore, when Uchiha Nanga was in the dream space, he did not rudely use his authority to devour the white Zetsu and fuse them, but only interfered without making any changes, allowing them to naturally adapt to the fusion. Only in this way, in turning the virtual into the real. Only then can success be possible. Deep in the quiet forest, suddenly, the air was forced from a center to the surrounding areas. The flowing air rustled the nearby flowers, plants and leaves, breaking the tranquility here. At this moment, a young man with the Uchiha clan emblem on his body suddenly appeared. As soon as the young man appeared, he immediately fell to the ground, breathing heavily, looking like he was exhausted. It seems that even after the body has been changed, more chakra is still needed to turn reality into reality. The previous transformation into reality, coupled with the dream space maintained for such a long time, even after eating military food, Maru's chakra replenishment is still a drop in the bucket. Fortunately, the amount of chakra has increased rapidly after the successful fusion, otherwise it would have been dangerous this time. Although Uchiha Minagawa looked frightened, feeling the rapidly recovering chakra in his body, the vitality full of vitality, and the warmth flowing through his eyes, Uchiha Minami couldn't help laughing. If it weren't for the fear of making too much noise to attract other people's attention, I'm afraid Uchiha Minami would be dancing with joy by now. Well, it seems that these white Zetsu cells are not very powerful. Although the eye power is slowly recovering, it is not to the level where Uchiha Obito can do whatever he wants. Maybe the half of white Zetsu's body transplanted by Uchiha as Uchiha Madara, it must have been specially adjusted. The bigger gain is this surging chakra. The powerful spiritual power of 2 lifetimes blessed by the Mangekyo Sharingan, and now the powerful vitality provided by the fusion of white Zetsu cells. My chakra should now be considered more than any cage-level ninja. It's already there, and I'm afraid it will increase several times in the next few years. Perhaps I can reach the level of Senju Hashirama in the future. He is a ruthless person who dares to compare with Naruto and the Nine Tails chakra. I suddenly feel that Mudun has no strength. What's going on? There is such a huge one. Chakra is pure power. Next, I should learn more ninjutsu, so that I can find a use for my chakra. If I can't deal with some minions, I should use the Mangekyo Sharingan. Then I can integrate my strength properly. Strive to be able to use your abilities 100% during combat. Combat experience is very important in the ninja world, which is a world of high attack and low defense. The ninja body illusion cannot be left behind. Fortunately, I have the Sharingan, and with the ability to blur, I can steal teachers everywhere. It shouldn't be called a copy. After all, the current copy ninja Kakashi has already made a name for himself in the ninja world. There are also the most important abilities of white Zetsu, the art of disguise and the art of ephemera. The spore index and the ability to absorb chakra are quite useful to me now. With the plan settled, Uchiha Minami quietly returned home, preparing to recuperate and go to various training grounds tomorrow morning to copy some practical ninjutsu. There is nothing that can be done about it. Now Uchiha Nanhi knows the 3-sense technique taught in school and the ninjutsu left by his 2 parents. One is the powerful fireball technique that is said to have a high appearance rate but has never hit anyone. The other is a very practical shadow clone. This is also the most frequently used ninjutsu in the 6 months since he awakened his memory. After all, Uchiha Nenga is still a ninja school student, and he needs a lot of time to prepare for the eye-opening event. He doesn't want to be exposed. Under his own abnormality, boring things like going to school can only be left to the shadow clone. Early the next morning, Uchiha Nanhi continued to separate into a shadow clone and go to school. The main body went to the ninja shop and bought a chakra test strip to detect chakra attributes. Uchiha Minami's previous chakra attributes were the same as those of the 2 pillars, which were thunder and fire. However, after fusing white Zetsu cells last night, he guessed that his current chakra attributes should include water and earth. After all, the wood escape used by Senju Hashirama is the blood inheritance boundary formed by the fusion of the 2 attributes of water and earth. Of course, according to Uchiha Minami's information from his previous life, more people believe that the wood escape used by Senju Hashirama is not blood. After the boundary, the blood successor elimination of the Yang shield was also added. Mudun's strong vitality and the ability to absorb and suppress chakra are not at all like the abilities that the blood successor can have. Uchiha Nenga quickly came to a secluded street corner and silently input chakra into the chakra test paper he just bought. The chakra test paper immediately changed accordingly after being stimulated by chakra. It's really a surprise. I actually have 5 chakra attributes. No, it should be all attributes. The original Uchiha Yin shield, coupled with the fused Yang shield. It's really unexpected. Maybe it's because Baiju was cultivated through a heretic golem. After all, the golem must have all the chakra attributes, and Baiju's own belt, which is fused with it, has all the chakra of the golem. The attributes are enough. After some thought, Uchiha Nenga found the answer without delay. The kaleidoscope in his eyes turned slightly, and his figure disappeared in this secluded street corner. Ninja missions are often accompanied by risks, and regular training to maintain combat literacy is necessary to save life. Therefore, even in the early morning, there are already ninjas who are not on missions exercising on the training ground. The plan for the day lies in the morning. Simple values are still universal. And now, Uchiha Minagawa stood quietly in front of a ninja who was performing ninjutsu, opening the 3 Magatama Sharingan and carefully memorizing the opponent's chakra flow and seals. The blur in the dream was more like another person. One dimension, so those ninjas being observed didn't even feel like they were being watched. In this way, Uchiha Nanga passed by the ninjas who were training, and firmly copied the ninjutsu and taijutsu moves they performed in his mind. He had to sigh at the power of the Sharingan, the blood inheritance limit. Not only does it have super strong combat support capabilities, it can also evolve to the Samsara Eye that controls life and death. The copying ability of the Sharingan alone, as long as it is used well, can save countless learning time, thus greatly widening the gap with ordinary ninjas. It is no wonder that every Uchiha tribesman who opens his eyes can easily obtain the name of genius. With this huge advantage, even Orochimaru, who is known as a genius, after seeing the training method of the young Uchiha Itachi, could only marvel at the peak of ordinary ninjas, but the Sharingan could do it easily and was deeply impressed by it. The obsession with Sharingan was deeply planted. After that, Uchiha Minami visited various training grounds, and even other secret arts families went around. Although the Sharingan cannot directly copy the secret arts, Uchiha Minami, who has a virtual form, can eavesdrop as long as possible. Uchiha Nanhi remembered everything he had used. For 3 days, Uchiha Minami copied other people's ninjutsu while practicing in the dream space. Although he did not perform these ninjutsu to the point of proficiency, through the copying and learning of the Sharingan, it allowed him to avoid many detours, and at least allowed him to reach a level of proficiency in these ninjutsu that was no less than that of the copied ones. Of course, you can only achieve proficiency by using it alone. If you combine it for actual combat, it will naturally not be as smooth as these ninjas who have been practicing for many years. There are still 3 days until the night of genocide breaks out. Now the number of ninjutsu is almost there. If you continue to practice, you won't make much progress in 3 days. Now you can go to the root base to have a look. If you can follow the trend, it would be better to make a calculation. Uchiha Minami stood quietly in front of the window of his house, looking up at the sky where the full moon was about to form, his mind gradually drifting away, thinking of the warm memories of this life from his birth to the present. Although his parents died at the end of the Third World War, Uchiha Minagawa had already begun to remember events at that time. He still remembered that except for the Kumogakure battlefield, all other battlefields had stopped fighting, and all countries had withdrawn their ninja troops, but there are many small groups of ninjas from other countries who are either timid, separated, or deliberately left behind, still wandering in the land of fire. Uchiha Minami's parents took on the task of clearing out the remaining ninjas from other countries in the land of fire, hoping to increase some income for this newly energetic family. What they came back half a month later were their corpses. At that time, Uchiha Nanga was only in his early 2 years, and had not yet awakened his memory, so he buried his parents in a muddle-headed manner with the help of neighbors and some clan elders. Later, it was the care of these neighbors that enabled him to be able to support himself. Due to Uchiha Minami's talent, he did not encounter any bloody bullying within the clan, but instead received a lot of benefits and care from the clan. And therefore, it was impossible for Uchiha Nanga to watch these lovely tribesmen being massacred by Konoha senior officials, Uchiha Itachi, and Uchiha Obito. From an outsider's point of view, Uchiha Nanga can completely ignore anything. For an ordinary person who comes from an extraordinary world and has fantasies about flying in the sky, coming to this place can bring great power to himself, and he can live forever. In this world, who doesn't want to experience the scenery from high places? But it happened that Uchiha Nanga didn't awaken his memory at the beginning. The human heart is made of flesh. The care of his parents and the care and love of his neighbors all invisibly tied his heart. Even if the memory was fully awakened later, he is still him, not a different person. This emotion is naturally still his own emotion. Therefore, Uchiha Nanhi made up his mind not only to resurrect his parents and save the Uchiha people, but also to make their life better. But the ninja world is a deformed world. A group of big villains are all pursuing peace. Even the final boss Kagaya Otsutsuki has his pitiful qualities. He is also nicknamed, Silly Sweet. In the words of a netizen from the previous life, there is no such thing in Naruto. A real bad guy. In such a world, if we want to ensure that our relatives and friends can have a good living environment and a better life, then we have to do the thankless task of changing the world. The deformity of the ninja world is not only reflected in the fact that Naruto wants people to understand each other and achieve peace, and Sasuke wants to become the target of public criticism and force peace in the ninja world. These are so powerful that they influence the thoughts of individual people in the world. It is also reflected in the ninja system, daimyo system and civilian concepts. The ninjas could clearly use this power to engage in production, but they begged the daimyo for funding while fighting for mission rewards. They were causing killings while calling for peace. They were obeying the orders of the daimyo who had no power, but they wanted to enjoy autonomy. The ninja has completely picked up the sesame seeds and lost the watermelon. The same goes for daimyo. On the one hand, they feed, drink, play and enjoy life for each other's relatives, but on the other hand, they go to war with the countries of these relatives. On the one hand, they rely on ninjas, but on the other hand, they are on guard against ninjas. The daimyo is not treating himself as a human being, and he doesn't treat others as human beings at all. The civilians are even more unbearable. They fear and hate ninjas, and at the same time they pay to hire ninjas to do things. Common people even raise themselves like pigs, just to fatten up the butchers and then kill the pigs. It is completely conceivable that people in this world have formed an inherent concept, how difficult it will be to change, how much resistance will be encountered, and the resistance may not only come from vested interests but even those civilians who are exploited and oppressed. Stand up and play devil's advocate. But there is something in this world that breaks everything, and that is chakra. Chakra can not only control others and change other people's thoughts, but can also defeat one person against a country, overcome all dissatisfaction physically, blur life and death, and travel through time and space. This is Uchiha Manga's confidence and the confidence to eventually change the world. Although Uchiha Nanga decided to take action in this incident to save the Uchiha clan, judging from the current situation, it is not easy to reverse this unfavorable situation. Things still have to be done step by step. The first step is we need to muddy the waters and make all parties of one mind suspicious of each other. There are currently 3 parties who want to destroy the Uchiha. The first is the high-level Konoha leaders headed by Sarutobi Hiruzen and Uchiha Obito. These 2 parties have no room for relaxation and are determined to destroy the Uchiha clan. The best way is to divide them and let them dog eat dog. The last party is Uchiha Itachi. This man is very contradictory. You say he loves Konoha, but he never provided Konoha with any news about the Akatsuki organization until his death. You said he loves Uchiha. He was ruthless enough to kill all the Uchiha clan. So is his favorite Uchiha Sasuke? Not necessarily. Uchiha Sasuke stayed with Orochimaru for 3 years, and Uchiha Itachi was so relieved to let him stay there. In the end, in order to prevent Uchiha Sasuke from seeking revenge on Konoha, he planned to use other gods to control Sasuke before he died. Then he loves himself. This is even more impossible. He was the one who released a sea of water against Sasuke, gave up treatment when he was sick, and died calmly. From Uchiha Nanga's point of view, what Uchiha Itachi loved was the concept he realized on his own. He believed that Uchiha could not defeat Konoha, and would be known as a traitor, and would also cause other ninja villages to covet Konoha. Then why would Uchiha launch a military coup? It would only harm others and not benefit himself, so he could simply eliminate them. As long as Uchiha is exterminated, Konoha will not have to suffer losses, Uchiha will not have a bad reputation, and other ninja villages will not find the opportunity to send troops to Konoha. What is this? This is the perfect answer to avoid 3 disadvantages. So, Uchiha Itachi made the decision to put an end to Uchiha with his own hands. This was so smart. Therefore, if you want to deal with Uchiha Itachi, you must either kill him directly, or reverse his idea and make him one of your own. As long as he realizes that the other 2 parties are paper tigers, and that the combined strength of Konoha is no match for Uchiha's 3 pairs of Mangekyo Sharingan, and then gives an arrogant person like him a step down, he will definitely return to the Uchiha camp. After analyzing the relationship between the various forces in his mind, Uchiha Nanhi made corresponding plans. He looked up in the direction of the Hokage building, with a mocking smile on his lips, and then his figure disappeared in front of the window in an instant. When Uchiha Minagawa appeared again, he had changed into a black-bottomed red cloud robe and wore an orange one-eyed whirlpool mask. This outfit was undoubtedly Uchiha Obito pretending to be Uchiha Madara. He was preparing to use Uchiha Obito's identity to sneak into the root base. After waiting for a while, it was time for the root ninja to change shifts. Uchiha Minagawa immediately blurred himself, followed closely by the root ninja. After a while, the root member led Uchiha Minagawa to the remote entrance of the root base. I saw the root ninja forming several hand seals, and the camouflaged entrance appeared in front of me. After confirming that this was indeed the root base, Uchiha Minami did not stop, and went directly through the body of the leader and entered the root base, middle. The environment here is really dark and depressing. I can only say that it's true. No wonder Danzo Shimura's old dog has such a dark and extreme personality. If he stays in this environment for a long time, even if he is a normal person, his personality will gradually change. It has to be dark and extreme. Walking in the dark underground passage that was only large enough for two people to walk side by side, Uchiha Nenga looked at the surrounding environment and cursed in his heart. Just with his current attire, he seemed a little proud. In terms of disguising Uchiha Obito, Uchiha Nenga is unique. He has the Mangekyo Sharingan, and the pattern of his Mangekyo Sharingan is very similar to Uchiha Obito. In this dim environment, as long as it is not if you distinguish carefully at close range, you will have a high chance of getting away with it. As for Uchiha Obito's signature ability of virtualization, Uchiha Minga can also completely simulate it by turning reality into virtuality. Under such a perfect disguise, anything Uchiha Minga does at the root can be blamed on Uchiha Madara's identity. In this way, Uchiha Minagawa started a virtual state that turned reality into virtuality. Just like Uchiha Obito, he ignored all traps, seals, and barriers, and roamed through the root base leisurely like visiting his own back garden. It has to be said that even though this base is built underground, it is still quite huge. Uchiha Minami walked along the passage for about 5 minutes before he came to a place as wide as a hall, with vertical and horizontal halls. Staggered with bridges leading in different directions, these bridges are connected to a central point and appear to be the central hub of the entire root base. Looking up at the hall, the dome is very high. There must be more exits than the one coming in. Down below, it is as dark as a bottomless abyss. Such a huge project shows the weight of the Shimura Dan's power hidden in Konoha. Facing this maze-like passage extending in all directions, Uchiha Minami did not panic and walked directly to the passage directly opposite. Now that he has merged with white Zetsu cells, Uchiha Minagawa has a huge amount of chakra, whether it is the amount of chakra or the recovery speed of chakra. It's enough for him to activate his virtualization ability for a long time. Moreover, the passage that Uchiha Nenga took was not chosen randomly. I remember that when Shimura Danzo summoned Sai in the original work, he came out from this direction. Danzo must have put all the important things away from him. A closer place, this kind of place is Uchiha Minami's destination for sneaking into the root base this time. Tisk tisk tisk, you are indeed an old dog of Danzo. He keeps talking about it for the sake of Konoha, but in private he does these human experiments that harm others and benefit himself. Look at these experimental subjects, haha, it seems that Danzo is very unwilling to have his own wood. The escaped ninja, was snatched away by the third generation. There seems to be no well-preserved columnar cells here. It should be the place where the roots are used to observe the experimental subjects. But the experimental subjects are here, so the columnar cells should also be nearby. So, Uchiha Nanhi began to carefully explore the rooms in this passage. After a while, he found an iron door engraved with sealing techniques. Uchiha Nanhi immediately became excited, and without hesitation, he ignored it. These seals on the door go directly through the iron door and into the room. But to his disappointment, there were some neat shelves in this room. The shelves were filled with various scrolls of different sizes, and there were no column cells like Uchiha Nenga expected. Chapter 11. Uchiha Nanhi stepped forward, picked up a scroll at random and opened it. Forbidden Psychic Technique Reincarnation in the Dirty Earth. Another scroll opens. Forbidden Technique Seal away the corpses and ghosts. Opening 2 scrolls in succession, Uchiha Nanga understood that these should be the forbidden ninjutsu that Danzo Shimura had collected from everywhere. Not only were they collected wool from the 3rd Hokage and the major families in Konoha, but they were probably also there are ninjutsu from other villages. Then he checked the scrolls on other shelves. Sure enough, all the scrolls on them were ninjutsu, including various levels of 5-element escape techniques, sealing techniques, and forbidden techniques. For ordinary ninjas, this place is simply a treasure trove. Even if they are copied, Uchiha Nanga, who has learned many ninjutsu, can also find several ninjutsu that suit him here. The most important thing is to first record the ninjutsu of Ultimate Earth Reincarnation. No matter if you want to summon or resurrect others in the future, or if you face an enemy who wants to use Earth Reincarnation to disgust you, you will have a way to deal with it. Uchiha Nanhi quickly used his Sharingan to record a few ninjutsu that were useful to him, and then hurriedly prepared to leave. Uchiha Nanga had always turned on virtualization before, and had not touched anything, so he was not worried about exposure. But now that the ninjutsu collected by Danzo has been used, and the many seals placed on the Iron Gate, Danzo should attach great importance to this place, so the possibility of exposure is very high. When Uchiha Minagawa turned on the virtualization, disappeared from the room, and came out of the room, a large number of root ninjas had already gathered outside the room. Now it's time to alert the enemy. If we delay any longer, it's likely that a large number of root ninjas will appear in this area. We can't delay any longer. We need to find the Hashirama cells as soon as possible. As a result, Uchiha Minagawa speeded up his search. He would often change to the next room when he first entered a room and did not sense the powerful breath of life. After all, it was impossible for the roots to seal the life fluctuations of Hashirama's cells without any problems. The efficiency of searching in this way will naturally be greatly improved. As expected, after only changing 5 rooms, I felt a strong breath of life. Such a powerful breath of life, and this kind of resonance with myself, it seems that I have found it. As soon as Uchiha Nanga entered this room, he felt the presence of Hashirama cells. His eyes brightened instantly and he looked at the location in the sensor. I saw a huge culture tank standing quietly in the center of the room, and a ball of meat soaked in green culture liquid came into view without any obstruction. These are Hashirama cells, right? I finally found you. The fusion of these Hashirama cells should bring about a new transformation in my strength. There may be some Asura chakra left in such a large mass. It's not necessarily true. That's how you make a lot of money. Staring hotly at the Hashirama cells in the culture tank, Uchiha Nanga thought excitedly. Without any further hesitation, Uchiha Minagawa stretched out his palm directly, reached into the culture tank, and removed the virtualization on his palm. After touching the fleshy mass, he directly turned it from solid to virtual, and temporarily stored it in the dream space. Before coming here, Uchiha Minagawa had stored some things in the dream space, and the dream space has been maintained. For Uchiha Minagawa, who has merged with white Zetsu cells, this short-term consumption is completely acceptable. Therefore, just turning reality into emptiness, a group of Hashirama cells, does not consume much chakra compared to Uchiha Minagawa's current amount of chakra. The moment Uchiha Nanhi took away Hashirama's cells, the sealing technique hidden around the culture tank was triggered, and Uchiha Nanhi couldn't help but feel a little annoyed. Well, has it been exposed? Yes. For such an important thing, with Danzo's way of doing things, it is impossible without several layers of insurance. It's no wonder that I was too anxious when I saw Hashirama's cells and didn't check it carefully. But, it doesn't matter. I got Hashirama cells and some extra ninjutsu. This trip has exceeded the goal. It's time to meet Konoha's darkness. While Uchiha Nanhi was preparing, who is it? With a loud shout, the door to the room was violently blasted open from the outside. Then, a group of root ninjas wearing animal masks quickly rushed into the house. Looking at the roaring man, it was Shimura Danzo who had most of his body covered with bandages and only one eye left. At this time, Danzo Shimura was not the first to rush in. He stood in the center of the crowd and glared at the masked man in front of him with a livid face. He did not see any instructions from Danzo. The root ninjas who rushed into the room gathered together without any emotion. They all attacked Uchiha Nanhi. As expected of Danzo, no order is the best order. He has no emotions, but he can cooperate with you tacitly. But in front of me, everything is in vain. The masked man was full of sarcasm, as if he didn't care about so many rude ninjas at all. The result also confirmed that he was confident. Not only did the attack of the rude ninja completely penetrate the masked man's body, but also caused a group of people to cooperate. The tacit understanding of the ninjas was in chaos, and many of them were accidentally injured by their companions. At this moment, Uchiha Nanhei's lips cracked into a perceptive smile. Before everyone could react too much, and before anyone could see him making any moves, a dense array of hidden weapons of all kinds appeared around him. The moment the hidden weapons appeared, they shot out in all directions, so densely that there was no room for dodge. How is this possible? The sudden and strange scene made Danzo Shimura's furious expression suddenly froze. He stretched out his hand to pull the subordinate next to him to block this overwhelming hidden weapon for himself. The root ninja next to him did not hesitate at all, and also tried his best to block it. In front of the leader. Even though Danzo and the root member were very decisive, this attack came too unexpectedly. Puff! The next moment, the sounds of sharp weapons entering flesh could be heard one after another. At this moment, all the root ninjas who broke into the room, including Shimura Danzo, were all shot into hedgehogs. This was because Uchiha Nanga had prepared in advance, seized the moment when their attack failed, and immediately launched such an indiscriminate and large-scale attack to achieve this effect. And those hidden weapons that appeared out of thin air were imitations of Uchiha Nanga, and Uchiha Obito developed the Storm Ranbu ninjutsu using the Kamui characteristics, and combined it with his own virtual reality transformation characteristics to develop moves. Not only does this move have a large range, but it also comes as a surprise. It is a great weapon against a profession like ninja, which has high attack and low defense. It is very troublesome to store a sufficient number of hidden weapons in the dream space in advance. Whether it is maintaining the dream space or converting these hidden weapons from reality to reality, a large amount of chakra is consumed. HMPH, how long are you going to pretend to be dead? Danzo Shimura. Uchiha Nanga's eyes calmly swept over each of his masterpieces, and finally stopped at Shimura Danzo who was lying behind, and then a mocking voice sounded with disdain. Uchiha Nanga, who knew that Shimura Danzo had a spare Sharingan, believed that such a stubborn Danzo must have used Izanagi at that critical moment, and naturally he would not naively go up to check and fall into the opponent's trap. It can also be seen from here how insidious Shimura Danzo is. Not only does he want to use his subordinates to protect himself from disaster, but he also uses Izanagi's characteristics to pretend to be dead, and wants to take advantage of the enemy's opportunity to come forward to check. Carried out a sneak attack, and remained calm and callous even when many of his subordinates were sacrificed. However, as Uchiha Nanga exposed his plan, Danzo Shimura no longer pretended to be dead. Shimura Danzo, who fell to the ground without any breath, turned into a phantom and disappeared the moment Uchiha Nanga finished speaking. At the same time, another Shimura Danzo appeared at the door intact, his eyes locked firmly in front of him. Figure of masked man. Who are you? What is the purpose of sneaking into my base? You must think clearly, this is Konoha. If you invade the secret department of the village for no reason, you will definitely face the pursuit of the entire Konoha. Even though Shimura Danzo acted very confident, under the Mangekyo Sharingan of Uchiha Minagawa, the flickering look of fear in his eyes could not escape his perception at all. Look at his ready to escape at any time. In this position, Uchiha Nanhi couldn't help but chuckle. However, looking at Shimura Danzo's vigilant look, Uchiha Obito has not yet come into contact with Shimura Danzo. Thinking of this, Uchiha Minga is in a very good mood. TCH, Uchiha Itachi should have reported my existence to Konoha senior officials in detail. People like him forget the earth when they see the sky. In the end, they are just tools that can be played with at will. There is no need to ask more, I am just a dead soul of Uchiha. Humph. As for the purpose, the little mice outside don't need to interfere with the fate of Uchiha. I'm just here to warn you. I want to take back all Uchiha's property. As for you, you can only hide in the smelly ditch. Rat, because you worked so hard to set up a stage for me, I, Uchiha Madara, allow you to wave the flag and shout from the outside. Uchiha Nanga's words expressed a lot of information, and completely broke through Shimura Danzo's bottom line. On the one hand, it can make Shimura Danzo feel grudge against Uchiha Itachi. After all, a tool that everyone can use may become a tool used by others to deal with him. It is the tool that caught Shimura Danzo and brought all ninjas to justice. This view of treating it as a tool quietly led him to classify Uchiha Itachi into the category of tools that are not easy to use. In addition, Uchiha Nanga hinted that Uchiha might kill the people who gave birth to him for the sake of Konoha, or he might do harm to Konoha for a larger goal. It was because he saw me, the sky, that he gave up on you, Shimura Danzo. The earth, that's why I can appear here. Of course, Uchiha Nanga never thought that Uchiha Itachi would be killed by Danzo because of this. After all, Uchiha Itachi had reported the clues about the masked man, and of course he would not be guilty of it. But as long as the seeds of doubt are planted for Shimura Danzo's idea of not trusting anyone will definitely affect the top management of Konoha. As long as the top management of Konoha has doubts about Uchiha Itachi. With Uchiha Itachi's genius as a ninja, he would definitely notice it. At that time, Uchiha Minagawa will push again, and Uchiha Itachi will naturally wake up from the dream he weaved for himself, and find that the ending he thought was perfect has put him in Uchiha's current situation. The two are to deliberately anger Shimura Danzo and pave the way for the possible conflict between Uchiha Obito and release a masked man Uchiha Madara to take away everything. Shimura Danzo can't even drink the soup. Signal. This is naturally intolerable to Danzo Shimura. The biggest reason Danzo Shimura destroyed the Uchiha clan was because he coveted the Sharingan. You didn't even give him a sip of soup. As the powerful elder of the largest ninja village, this is certainly intolerable. The chance of having with Uchiha Obito is quite high. Moreover, judging from the current mentality of Uchiha Obito playing Madara, when encountering such a thing, Uchiha Obito will not and cannot explain it, and will definitely take action without any scruples to defend the identity he plays. The greater possibility is that at the suggestion of Danzo Shimura, the top management of Konoha, headed by Sarutobi Hiruzen, asked Itachi Uchiha to prove his innocence and teamed up with Anbu to ambush Obito Uchiha and give him a cruel blow. Of course, even with this best result, Uchiha Minagawa did not think that Uchiha Obito would fall there. Not to mention that Uchiha Obito had the life-saving trump card of Izanagi, and the Kamui-Eye technique alone could make him fall. He is invincible by nature. What's more, with how many white Zetsus there are in Konoha now, it would be even more impossible to ambush Obito Uchiha. However, it was a good time at that time. In order to round up and kill such a person who dared to call himself Uchiha Madara and was very likely to be the culprit of the Nine Tails Rebellion, Sarutobi Hiruzen would probably lead most of the Anbu to take charge. Then wouldn't the defense of some confidential places in the Hokage building be weak? Thinking of this, Uchiha Nanga also remained calm, waiting for Shimura Danzo's reaction. Uchiha Itachi. I see, as expected, no one in Uchiha can be trusted, but the Uchiha Madara I know is not a little rat, villain like you who hides his head and shows his tail. Danzo Shimura originally wanted to call him a rat, but he thought about how the masked man had a little mouse in his mouth and a rat in his mouth. If he said that again, wouldn't he agree with his statement? Faced with Shimura Danzo's sarcasm, Uchiha Nanga still looked indifferent, snorted disdainfully, and said arrogantly, Shimura Danzo, let's keep your life for now and cherish your time now. However, your life was taken away by my spokesperson early. Haha, you must not have forgotten how you ended up in such embarrassment. You must have escaped from the Kingdom of Rain. After saying that, without looking at Shimura Danzo's frightened eyes, he directly simulated the distorted vortex ripples of space and disappeared in front of Shimura Danzo's eyes. However, even after the masked man disappeared, Shimura Danzo still frowned, with deep fear showing on his face. He could not forget the reincarnation-eyed boy from the Land of Rain, who had suffered the most serious losses over the years. Once, even Sancho Hanzo, the demigod of the ninja world at the time, fell under a ninjutsu of that boy. God knows how strong that boy with the reincarnation eye can be now. Coupled with the current masked man Uchiha Madara, Shimura Danzo felt that he was going to feel cold, so he had to find a good friend to comfort him first. After a while, Danzo Shimura came out of the fear and worry and regained his composure. He thought that the little devil with samsara eyes had not taken action for so many years. Either Sanshoyu Hanzo had entangled him, or he was also afraid of him. The strength of Konoha's largest ninja village. It seems that until these two people are eliminated, we will have to leave Konoha less in the future. As the whirlpool where the masked man disappeared just now, a time and space ninjutsu. Is this guy really Madara Uchiha? He used the Mangekyo Sharingan unscrupulously, wore a mask, and used the space-time ninjutsu. Could this be the guy who triggered the Nine Tails Rebellion 7 years ago, leading to the death of both Minato Namikaze and his wife? The information sent after the war showed that the Nine Tails suddenly appeared in the village. The existence of the Nine Tails that can channel the Nine Tails is also related to the Samsara Eye. Even if this person is not Uchiha Madara, he has something special with Uchiha Madara. Relationship. Perhaps this time he came to Konoha village to exterminate the Uchiha clan because Uchiha Madara hated the Uchiha clan for betraying him and sent this masked man here. Many questions emerged in Shimura Danzo's mind, which deepened his fear of the masked man. Looking at the destroyed laboratory in front of him, he realized that a large group of Hashirama cells he had cultivated had disappeared. This made Shimura while Danzo was angry. His murderous intention towards the masked man became even more intense. Not to mention that Shimura Danzo was incompetent and furious because of the loss of the high-end laboratory and Hashirama cells, but at this time, Uchiha Nenga did not leave the root base directly through time and space ninjutsu as Danzo thought. Although Uchiha Nenga also has the ability to virtualize, it is essentially different from Uchiha Obito's Kamui. His virtualization is just about projecting the image into reality after turning reality into virtuality, simulating the same surface form as Kamui. It does not have space-time properties. Looking at the Hashirama cells in the dream space, not to mention the strong desire to fuse the Hashirama cells, even if he maintains this dream space for a long time, Uchiha Minami's eye power and chakra are a little too much, so he leaves without any further delay. After getting the root base, he dared to go home. When passing Shimura Danzo in deep thought, he did not forget to parasitize a spore on Danzo. The dream space derived from the two beings Izanagi and Izanami is a very magical place. According to Uchiha Minami's experiment, either his Sharingan power is higher than the real dimension, or this space is in a dimension lower than Uchiha Minami's Sharingan power. Therefore, when opening up and maintaining this dream space, Uchiha Minami's chakra and eye power consumption is not that serious, but he is only linked to this dream dimension, and can create a dream space unique to him in this dimension. These all require the participation of chakra and eye power. Once this supply is cut off, this dream space will disappear, and at the same time, the things that exist in it will be lost to this dream dimension. In a moment, Uchiha Nanhi returned home, hurriedly closed the doors and windows, and then blurted himself into the dream space. Looking at the Hashirama cells in front of him, Uchiha Nenga couldn't help but imagine that after merging this group of Hashirama cells, his strength would inevitably undergo a terrifying improvement. When it is fully developed, the Mangekyo Sharingan will be promoted to the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Eyes, he is a combination of Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama. Judging from the known information, the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan are from the same lineage, and they were both passed down from the Six-Path Sage. Then, genetically speaking, the Uchiha clan should also have the power of the immortal body. However, from Indra to now, the Uchiha clan, thousands of years later, has never had the power of the immortal body. Therefore, when the White Zetsu was fused last time, Uchiha Minami speculated that either the inheritance of the power of the sacred tree was very unstable and the power was lost in the inheritance from generation to generation, or the genetic information of the immortal human body was still there. In the Uchiha clan, it is just an unexpressed recessive gene. However, whether they are lost or have unexpressed recessive genes, Uchiha and Senju are both differentiated by the power of the sacred tree. If this power is lost, then the two can complement each other. If it is a recessive gene, the power of Thousand Hands is integrated, and it can also activate one's own immortal body. This result is perfect for Uchiha Minagawa, who wants to fuse Hashirama cells. It is not a loss anyway. Of course, if you want to choose the same thing from the two, it is better to activate your own immortal body. That is the way to go. The one that suits you best and has higher growth potential. Senju Hashirama's immortal body was developed to the end when he died, but Senju Hashirama was not born so strong. His immortal body grew up bit by bit. The Senju Hashirama. At that time it is uncertain whether the immortal human body will be fully developed in time. In this way, the highest achievement of the fairy body obtained by merging and complementing each other cannot surpass Senju Hashirama. Therefore, if you can activate your own fairy body, you can do whatever you want in the fit, or your growth potential can surpass Senju Hashirama, or much higher than the former. Uchiha Nanhi abandoned distracting thoughts, adjusted his own condition, and without any further hesitation, directly started the comprehensive integration. With the experience last time, Uchiha Nanhi did not worry about other accidents. As previously speculated, perhaps the fusion of White Zetsu's cells greatly strengthened Uchiha Nanga's current cells. At the beginning of the fusion, as soon as they came into contact with Hashirama's cells, Nanga's cells exploded with power that was not inferior to Hashirama's cells. The powerful life essence is only slightly inferior in quantity. Seeing such a scene, Uchiha Minagawa was very happy. This proved that his current cells had finally activated his own immortal body essence after being stimulated by Hashirama cells. Not daring to be careless, Uchiha Minagawa changed his strategy and no longer made the two sides adapt to each other. Instead, he used his absolute mastery of the dream space to suppress the functions of Hashirama's cells and devour him directly as nutrition for his own cells. Under the guidance of Uchiha Minagawa, a godlike being, all the cells in the body soon completed activation and devoured everything that had plundered Hashirama cells. After a while, nothing was left of the large group of Hashirama cells. This also means that Uchiha Nanhi successfully activated his immortal body. Feeling the surging power in his body, Uchiha Nanga knew that his immortal body was already very awakened due to devouring Hashirama's cells, so he couldn't wait to prepare to turn reality into reality so that he could experience the new reality in reality. Physical changes. Tisk, the chakra consumed this time is indeed more than last time. However, with this kind of powerful power that comes completely from itself, this consumption is nothing. You are so lucky. If you didn't fuse the White Zetsu cells, it would be very difficult to activate your immortal body. Even if you wake up, you won't be able to swallow the Hashirama cells that are too different. Now I have not only activated my immortal body, but also swallowed Hashirama's cells, allowing my immortal body to directly skip the stage of awakening. After that, there will be mutual promotion between the Mangekyo Sharingan and the immortal body. I think my immortal body will be better. Development will soon reach the point of the first Hokage. Cultivation of one's nature but not one's life is the first disease of cultivation. The spirit and the body are inseparable. If the spirit is too strong, it will oppress the body. Like Itachi Uchiha, his body was crushed at a young age because of the burden of the Mangekyo Sharingan. If the physical body is too strong, it will also oppress the spirit and become a slow-thinking rare beast, or even cause a long-term coma. However, when the gap between the spirit and the body is not big, they will complement each other. When the spirit is stronger than the physical body, it will stimulate the physical body and make it continuously strengthen. Similarly, when the physical body is stronger than the spirit, the physical body will also complement the spirit, making it stronger. The two are coordinated and unified. Nowadays, whether it is the mental Mangekyo Sharingan or the physical immortal body, Uchiha Nanga has reached a certain level of power. As long as the two complement each other in practice, his growth rate will definitely exceed that of the past. Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama. When he carefully experienced the changes in his body, Uchiha Minagawa also discovered that there was an instinctive power in his body. It was not like spiritual energy and life energy that could not burst out freely, but like chakra that seemed to be able to burst out at any time. Could it be wood done? Uchiha Nanhi was confused for a moment, made some guesses, and stretched out his palm directly, preparing for an intuitive experiment. Guiding this power into his palm and releasing it outward, he saw a wooden branch slowly growing out of his palm, feeling the breath of life carried on the branch. Haha, it is indeed a wood release. It looks full of life. It is unmistakable. This is a perfect wood release like Senju Hashirama. The immortal body and the perfect wood release. When I develop these powers perfectly, I will be the next god of the ninja world with just these two. What's more, I also have the Sharingan. If I am promoted to the eternal Mangekyo at the level of Rinnegan, I can accomplish the great feat of Susanoo Buddha and destroy the four kingdoms by myself. As Uchiha Minagawa, who has watched the entire Naruto series, he is very saddened by Senju Hashirama's behavior. He could obviously join forces with Uchiha Madara and Susanoo Buddha, and the two of them could destroy the Four Kingdoms and completely suppress the struggle in the ninja world. Within the scope, there were several subsequent frequent ninja wars, and the scope and people involved were not so many. But Senju Hashirama naively thought that establishing the village would protect peace. Little did he know that it was his move that during the Warring States period, the fight between families, which was only between families and a few hundred people at most, was sublimated to the state between countries, affecting all the countries. In the tragedy of tens of thousands of people. On the other hand, Uchiha Madara was sober at this time, and clearly wanted to destroy other ninja forces, either to surrender or to be destroyed, but in the end he was stopped by Senju Hashirama, a fool. It has to be said that Senju Hashirama was people seem to be very loving, but they are actually quite selfish. Before the battle at the Valley of the End, Uchiha Madara believed that Senju Hashirama had gone astray, and that in order to protect the village, he could harm the interests of his relatives and friends. This was completely putting the cart before the horse, and also caused the two to drift apart. Sure enough, Konoha later spawned countless darkness under the concept of the first Hokage, and the village became weaker and weaker. If the second Hokage hadn't laid enough foundation for the village would have been wiped out long ago. How could it have survived until the end of the second Hokage? After 4 great ninja wars, Naruto and Sasuke grew up. Now that the Thousand Hands have disappeared, the whirlpool no longer exists, and the Uchiha clan who helped build the village are going to be exterminated. Minami Uchiha can't figure out what these Hokages are thinking. The degree of brain damage is similar to that of the blood mist under the control of the Sharingan. Gotta give it a try. However, now that Uchiha Nanga had the strength to break this big tree that had rotted to the roots, he felt a little secretly proud for a while. Sure enough, this is a world of cheating. After hard training and so on, at most it can only reach the level of Metkai's Krypton life. How can cheating be as fun and straightforward as that? However, the risk of cheating is not less than that of Krypton life. Fortunately, when I turned on the Mangekyo Sharingan, I was not shocked by those negative emotions and had a mental breakdown. At the same time, I also formed my own world view early. Otherwise, I would be like Uchi. Like Obito and Uchiha Itachi, they became cold-blooded people controlled by the extreme emotions of the Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Nanga once again mocked the two filial sons, and also took a warning. He always reminded himself to be cautious and not to be affected by extreme emotions. You must know that even if he is as strong as Madara Six Paths, when he gets carried away, he will be attacked by a player with a low combat power, Black Zetsu. If you succeed, most of your life's planning will become someone else's wedding dress, let alone yourself. The ninja world is not what it seems on the surface. Nagato is the ceiling, not to mention Black Zetsu in the dark, just the Sage of Six Paths in the Pure Land, Hamura Otsutsuki who has opened the reincarnation eye on the moon, and there is also Go who is here at this time. I don't know about the Otsutsuki Ashiki in the corner, but the old guys are secretly hiding. Before I have enough strength, I can't be the leader. For a long time after that, I will probably have to let Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Itachi, two tools, stand at the front desk and attract attention for me. I only need to make plans at critical moments and quietly be a thug. That's it. Just brush off your clothes and go. Prepared to remain hidden behind the scenes for a long time, Uchiha Nanhi continued to observe his own changes. First, the amount of chakra and the recovery speed of chakra have been greatly improved, reaching the threshold of Super Shadow. Secondly, the surging vitality has brought about the self-healing ability like Senju Hashirama. Ability, the recovery speed of Mangekyo Sharingan's pupil power has been greatly improved. Furthermore, the spore technique and the ability to absorb chakra obtained by fusing white Zetsu cells have been greatly enhanced by the awakening of the perfect wood release. Now even without the wood release secret technique to fully unleash one's strength, the strength is at the shadow level. It should also be at its peak. With the current strength of Uchiha Nanga, it would not take much effort to solve the crisis of Uchiha genocide. Even if the matter itself cannot be solved, the person who caused it can still be solved. He looked in the direction of the Hokage building with expectant eyes. I hope you can catch the masked man as you wish. Let me see how powerful I am as Hokage. Back in time, not long after Uchiha Nanga left his roots, Shimura Danzo, who became more and more fearful as he thought about it, set out for the Hokage building. Of course, he couldn't handle this kind of thing alone, so Shimura Danzo found a good guy like Sarutobi Hiruzen. Friend, described what happened at the roots in a more eloquent way. Sarutobi Hiruzen was also shocked after hearing this, and immediately sent someone to notify the two consultants to attend the meeting. Sarutobi, what happened when you called us here so late? Could it be that the Uchiha clan acted in advance? He arrived before anyone else arrived. As soon as he arrived at the door of the Hokage building, Koharu couldn't wait to go to bed and started asking questions urgently. Mito Kadano, another consultant of the elder group, walked in right after him. At this time, Mito, although Menyan did not speak, he still looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo with questioning eyes. Okay, I came to you this time. It's not that there's a problem with Uchiha. It's because Danzo's roots were attacked and a lot of secrets and supplies were lost. So we need to discuss a solution as soon as possible. Seeing the arrival of his two old friends, Sarutobi Hiruzen did not waste any time in greetings and directly explained the current situation. Then he turned his attention to Shimura Danzo, who obviously needed Danzo to explain the specific situation. After receiving the signal from Sarutobi Hiruzen, Shimura Danzo did not hesitate and described again what he had said to the third Hokage before. Another Uchiha. Sure enough, Uchiha is the biggest factor of instability. This hidden danger must be completely eliminated. In addition, Uchiha Itachi cannot be trusted. Maybe he has been in cahoots with this masked man for a long time. The so-called personal action getting rid of the Uchiha clan that threatens the village is just a ruse to confuse us. After listening to Shimura Danzo's embellished words full of his own opinions, Koharu immediately expressed his judgment when he went to bed. Moreover, the guy who calls himself Uchiha Madara is even more ridiculous. You must know that Uchiha Madara was a figure of the same period as the first generation, and he was killed by the first generation himself in the battle at the Valley of the End. We all saw his body. However, this person still dares to show off with the name of Uchiha Madara. Do you really think we will be afraid of the name of a dead man? What's more, as an Uchiha, invading the root base under the current tense situation is most likely to divert our attention and buy time for the Uchiha clan's coup. Mito Keitoyan expressed his views immediately after Koharu transferred to bed, not only agreeing with Uchiha's untrustworthiness, but also showing his disdain for the masked man claiming to be Uchiha Madara. At this time, Shimura Danzo did not express his inference. Before coming here, the masked man made it clear that he wanted to swallow up Uchiha's inheritance alone, and also threatened himself with the Rinnegan. No matter what, it was Shimura Danzo. This cannot be tolerated, and now we are trying our best to promote everyone to reach a consensus. Dealing with masked people is the key. Shimura Danzo believed that even if the masked man was Uchiha Madara, how old would he be now and how much strength would he still have left? Judging from his hidden appearance, he is more likely to be a lucky person who has inherited Uchiha Madara, and his strength is not that good. Space ninjutsu is a little trickier, and he can definitely be found under the siege of a large number of Anbuin roots. Flaw. Okay, Menyan, Koharu, and Uchiha are also part of Konoha. Although there are some people with ulterior motives among them, don't forget Kagami and Shisui. They are all Uchiha who have perfectly inherited the will of fire. And there are many people like them in the Uchiha clan who have the will of fire. Uchiha Itachi was taught by Shisui. He also has the perfect will of fire. Although his ideas are a bit radical, they are all for Konoha, so don't let emotions affect your judgment. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen also had some doubts, he did not show it on his face at all. Instead, he comforted several old friends. As Hokage, he must always pay attention to his words and deeds and maintain an upright image. HMPH, Hiruzen, the Uchiha rebellion is imminent, and now a kaleidoscope with unknown purpose has appeared. Don't forget the Nine Tails rebellion 7 years ago. Seeing that Sarutobi Hiruzen was fighting with Shinny again, Shimura Danzo directly promoted his own threat theory. He knew the nature of these old friends very well and knew that the two advisors were just grassroots. Whoever threatened them would turn into mad dogs, and Sarutobi just wanted an excuse. Therefore, Danzo Shimura put forward his threat theory at the right time. Sure enough, as Shimura Danzo's warning words came out, the third Hokage had not yet made any response, and Koharu and Mito Kadobu, who were sleeping in the dormitory, started to persuade the third Hokage with greatly changed expressions. Hiruzen, Danzo is right. The situation is critical now. To prevent any changes, we must deal with this masked man as soon as possible. Otherwise, if he joins forces with the Uchiha clan, the consequences will be disastrous. Yes, Hiruzen, and that Uchiha Itachi, even if we don't take action against him, we should still test his loyalty. Why not let him lure the masked man out, and then cooperate with us to kill the masked man, and then only in this way can we deal with Uchiha's rebellion with peace of mind. This is the safest approach. As Kaharu and Mito Kabuto proposed countermeasures, the situation became clear instantly. Shimura Danzo also looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen expressionlessly, obviously agreeing with the opinions of his two old friends and waiting for him to make a decision, but there was a look in his eyes that was not what I expected. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned and thought for a while. He still trusted Uchiha Itachi, but as Shimura Danzo said, if Uchiha Itachi could betray the Uchiha who gave birth to him, he might betray Konoha. Besides, people's hearts are also different. He couldn't withstand the temptation, but if Uchiha Itachi could still complete the task well this time and didn't have any second thoughts, it might be worthy of belief. Having made up his mind, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at his three old friends. Okay, just follow the suggestions of Monyan and Kaharu, but Itachi is still trustworthy, you can't mess around. In addition, Danzo, you have fought against the masked man, you will lead the route to assist Uchiha Itachi in arranging specific arrangements. Regarding the incident, I will lead the Anbu as a coordinator. Shimura Danzo had no objection to Sarutobi Hiruzen's behavior of hiding behind when he handed over the command to him. He would not rush to the front anyway, and there were Uchiha Itachi and so many Anbu-rooted ninjas standing in front. Well, I'm not panicking at all. Afterwards, after discussing how to deal with the masked man's elusive time and space ninjutsu, Sarutobi Hiruzen arranged for Anbu to summon Uchiha Itachi. Lord Hokage, and the advisors, what are your orders? Uchiha Itachi came to the Hokage's office and half-kneeled to accept the order. Facing Uchiha Itachi's usual respect, Sarutobi Hiruzen was very satisfied and looked kind. Itachi, thank you for your hard work. Don't be formal. There is an urgent matter in calling you here this time. Just now, the root base was invaded. Many Anbu comrades were killed, and important secrets and a large amount of supplies were lost. The attacker is the Uchiha Madara you reported last time. The indifferent Uchiha Itachi was shocked when he heard that the one who attacked the route was actually the masked man Uchiha Madara, but he quickly calmed down. I understand, Hokage-sama, do you need me to lure him out? I must complete the task. Seeing that Uchiha Itachi was so knowledgeable, Danzo Shimura stood up. Next, you need to cooperate with me to take down that audacious imposter. The time is set for tomorrow night. Soon the next day came. Uchiha Minami stayed up all night and kept practicing in the dream space, intending to seize the time to master his current strength. Early in the morning, because the chakra was not enough to continue to maintain the dream space, he was ready to go out to eat. Some foods adjust the state. As soon as he came out, he received information from the spore technique placed on Shimura Danzo, and learned what happened in the Hokage building. Is it tonight? Haha, sure enough, Sarutobi Hiruzen will also dispatch Anbu to go there. It seems that there will be a big show tonight. Unfortunately, I can't participate in such a wonderful show. Oh, Uchiha Itachi is really loyal to Konoha. Unfortunately, you are also a member of Uchiha. No matter how much you do, you will not be trusted. This kind of obvious trick of driving away tigers and devouring wolves, isn't it? Do you feel pathetic? In this drama directed by himself, Uchiha Nanga could see through the roles played by all parties at a glance. While sneering in his heart, he couldn't help but feel a little angry at Uchiha Itachi. White Zetsu's spore technique is really useful. I remember that Yamato, the wood releaser, also used a similar method during the Tianchi Bridge. The spores on Danzo Shimura's body were made before I gained the complete wood release power. The information is not detailed either. However, I believe that the spore technique integrated with the complete power of wood escape will greatly enhance the ability to collect intelligence, and it will definitely bring surprises to me in the future. Uchiha Nanhi no longer thought about it, and went out after a hurried breakfast. He now needed to spread the enhanced spore technique around the Uchiha clan to prevent the high-level officials of Konoha from interfering with Uchiha Obito. After losing the battle, He jumped over the wall because he could not grasp the situation, and launched the night of genocide in advance. Time flies like water, and it's night in a blink of an eye. The cold moonlight shone among the mottled tree shadows. Uchiha Itachi closed his eyes and stood quietly on a boulder. As early as daytime, Uchiha Itachi notified the masked man through a special contact method, scheduled to be held today. See you here later. Seeing that the time was about to reach the agreed time, the void not far behind Uchiha Itachi suddenly rippled strangely, and a masked figure also appeared. Uchiha Itachi, we have arranged to meet at this time. Have you decided to take action in advance? The masked man asked straight to the point without saying too much nonsense, but there was a hint of ridicule in his tone. Madara, you violated our agreement. Uchiha Itachi opened his eyes instantly, a pair of scarlet Mangekyo Sharingan staring coldly at the masked man. Breaking the promise. Haha, the current situation doesn't seem like I have violated the promise. The masked man did not take Uchiha Itachi's threat into his eyes at all, and still looked directly at the opponent's Mangekyo Sharingan without any dodge, with no trace of concealment in the teasing look in his eyes. Seeing the masked man's performance, Uchiha Itachi instantly understood that he might have seen through the ambush this time, but the other party was too conceited with his strength to not care. This is normal. In Uchiha Obito's view, no one in Konoha village can threaten him after losing the 4th generation Hokage Namikaze Shuiman. The fact that he can enter and leave Konoha at will without being discovered is proof. However, Uchiha Itachi is the person he likes. He even helped him open his Sharingan. Until he opened the Mangekyo Sharingan, he had his own concerns along the way. Naturally, he didn't want to throw away this one he cultivated at will. Chess piece, so even if he knew this was a trap, he was still prepared to come and ease the relationship between the two parties. Monthly reading. Uchiha Itachi had no intention of answering and immediately released his pupil technique. Uchiha Obito did not resist and was directly pulled into the Tsukuyomi space. Just when Uchiha Itachi released the Tsukuyomi Eye technique, a barrier visible to the naked eye immediately rose from all around, instantly incorporating this area into the barrier. Did you make it? Seeing that the barrier was successfully cast, Shimura Danzo and Sarutobi Hiruzen appeared outside the barrier, but the inside of the barrier was filled with Anbu members wearing masks. Obviously, just like Uchiha Shisui back then, Uchiha Itachi didn't hide his pupil skills at all, so he could achieve such tacit cooperation. However, as soon as Shimura Danzo finished speaking, the masked man in the barrier trembled violently, and then he snorted softly. He took a step back as if he had been severely injured, and his figure was on the verge of falling. There was no need to give an order. The Anbu in the barrier launched an attack on the unsteady masked man, and Uchiha Itachi also formed a seal. Art Fire Escape Ho Fireball. Wind Done Big Breakthrough. Earth Release *2 Long Spear. Quote. In an instant, countless hidden weapon ninjutsu densely covered the figure of the masked man. Boom, boom, boom. A large number of explosions resounded throughout the entire barrier. After the smoke and dust cleared, a deep pit of more than 10 meters appeared at the location of the attack. However, when Sarutobi Hiruzen and others looked inward, the figure of the masked man appeared on the edge of the pit. There were no scars on his body, and even his clothes were not damaged at all, just like he had just appeared. As it was at that time, it was obvious that the severely injured look before was just playing tricks on them. Ah, what a unique welcome ceremony, everyone in Konoha. The masked man looked unconcerned, spreading his hands and uttering sarcastic words. At this moment, Konoha, whether it was the leaders of Sarutobi Hiruzen Shimura's group or other Anbu members, felt unprecedentedly angry and wished for another wave of ninjutsu bombings. But thinking about the weird scene just now, it was obvious that our attacks had no effect at all. Before we understood the principle, we had to stop and do not want to humiliate ourselves again. Faced with such a situation, Sarutobi Hiruzen had no choice but to use words to hold the opponent back, trying to find out the opponent's weaknesses. Who are you? What's your purpose in coming to Konoha? Faced with Sarutobi Hiruzen's question, the masked man still responded sarcastically. Haha, I'm just a dead soul of Uchiha. As for the intention, didn't you invite me here? Suddenly hearing that he was invited by his own family, Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't even think about it. He turned around and glared at Shimura Danzo. Obviously, He thought that this dangerous person was Shimura Danzo, who wanted to eliminate the Uchiha clan without causing any harm to Konoha. More losses, proactive foreign aid. What Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't know was that this was just a backup plan, that Itachi Uchiha wanted to leave the last dignity for his family and privately invited the masked man, who was also an Uchiha, to ensure that the plan was foolproof. But now is not the time to care about this. He snorted and let Shimura Danzo go for the time being. So, what's your explanation for your attack on the roots last night? Faced with Sarutobi Hiruzen's domineering attitude, Uchiha Obito looked at him coldly without any emotion. In fact, as early as the day before yesterday, his white Zetsu informed him that a white Zetsu responsible for monitoring the Uchiha clan had mysteriously disappeared. He was very surprised to receive this unexpected news. You must know that Baizetsu's hidden ability is at the top level in the entire ninja world. He disappeared without leaving any clues. After all, he was discovered. Or for some other unknown reason, he wanted to know what was going on. So, he immediately came to Konoha. While searching by himself, he also sent many Baizetsu to look for clues together. Until something happened at the route last night, when the top management of Konoha gathered in the Hokage building urgently, and at this moment when the Uchiha plan to exterminate the Uchiha was about to be implemented, his attention had to be drawn, so he went directly to participate in the whole process that night's meeting. It was thus known that the owner of the Mangekyo Sharingan pretended to be him and attacked the root base, and also took away the Hashirama cells. Of course, Shimura Danzo did not explain that the Hashirama cells in the base were also missing. After all, this was an experiment he conducted privately, and it was impossible for Sarutobi Hiruzen and his party to know. But this secret was naturally known to Uchiha Obito under the investigation of Baizetsu, who had the power to spread all over the entire ninja world. This kind of behavior of the other party made Uchiha Obito very afraid. Not only did the other party know his existence, but he also used his identity to steal Hashirama cells. He had the Mangekyo Sharingan and Hashirama cells, which made people think of him. The other party already knows the secret that Hashirama cells can restore the pupil power of the Mangekyo Sharingan. In addition, the opponent can also imitate his own divine power, and may also have similar time and space pupil skills, which makes him have to be extremely vigilant. This kind of powerful enemy that may threaten his plan must be find them immediately and either capture them or kill them. Therefore, even though he knew this was a trap, Uchiha Obito still chose to meet Uchiha Itachi here. One of the purposes was to unite with Konoha and find this enemy hidden in the dark. Although he was very dissatisfied with the condescending attitude of this group of people, he still spoke out for his own purposes. Then you have to ask your own people. I promised to come to help you suppress the Uchiha rebellion, but something like this happened at this juncture. It seems that another incredible person has appeared in the Uchiha clan. You can't even none of this information has been investigated, which makes people doubt whether Konoha still has the strength to be the #1 ninja village. Although the masked man was mocking Konoha's intelligence capabilities, he also expressed the fact that he was not invading the root base. Since I promised you to exterminate the Uchiha clan together, naturally I will not add any unnecessary extravagance to invade the roots at this time. When can't I do it? It is completely unnecessary to give the Uchiha clan breathing time at this time. Moreover, you should pay more attention to the newly born Mangekyo Sharingan among the Uchiha clan, that is the culprit. Faced with the masked man's explanation, Shimura Danzo would not worry so much. In his opinion, such a distinctive time and space pupil technique cannot be easily imitated casually. What's more, the opponent is so arrogant, and now that there is a barrier, and his side has the upper hand, even if he didn't do it, getting a Mangekyo Sharingan with the time and space pupil technique will be a big profit. Therefore, Shimura Danzo did not wait for Sarutobi Hiruzen to continue to quarrel with the opponent, and gave the order directly. Go! Suddenly, another large swath of hidden ninjutsu weapons attacked the masked man. This time Sarutobi Hiruzen and others who were on the periphery could see it very clearly. All the attacks penetrated the masked man's body and did not hit him at all. The other party's entity. How is it possible? Time and space ninjutsu. This barrier was developed by the 4th Hokage. It is a sealing barrier specifically for time and space ninjutsu. How can you still use time and space ninjutsu in this barrier? Uchiha Obito was also a little impatient, and cold words came from the mask. "Oh, who do you think I am? I'm Uchiha Madara. You don't really think that this mere ceiling barrier can trap me, do you? As the price for you taking action against me, you must find the person who dares to impersonate me. Although Hashirama is gone and I have no interest in this village, since you have taken action against me, I don't mind doing it again. Do something to this village." After saying that, he stopped saying too much. The space was filled with vortex-like ripples, and the figure disappeared into the vortex. Seeing such a scene, Konoha also knew that this barrier could not do anything to the opponent at all. Facing the masked man leaving, Uchiha Itachi was in a daze. Previously in the Tsukuyomi space, Uchiha Obito explained the situation and reached a new plan with him. In order to prevent other accidents, launching a war of genocide in advance would not only prove that he was not the root base to invade, but also dispel the doubts of Konoha's top brass about him, and also force the hidden Uchiha to reveal himself. Sarutobi Hiruzen and others did not pay too much attention to Uchiha Itachi, who was at a loss. They hurriedly checked if there was something wrong with the barrier. After a while, they determined that the barrier was still useful. The masked man far surpassed him in time and space. At the limit of the barrier, for a moment, the faces of Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo became extremely ugly. As the saying goes, misfortunes never come singly. When Sarutobi Hiruzen and others were still upset about not catching the masked man, an Anbu hurriedly brought bad news. "Report to the Hokage-sama. The Hokage building has been attacked, the advisor is asking for help." When Uchiha Minami got Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo to jointly deal with Uchiha Obito, Uchiha Minami immediately had the plan to steal the house, although he also wanted to enjoy the movie directed by Itachi consciously. The drama of besieging Uchiha Obito, but thinking of the wood-release ninjutsu and flying thunder god jutsu in the sealed book, he quickly made a decision. Anyway, from Uchiha Nenga's point of view, Uchiha Obito has white zetsu all over Konoha and his unsolvable Mangekyo eye technique. Even if he is careless and is successfully attacked, he still has a Izanagi who can turn the situation around. Once he is given a moment to breathe, he will definitely be able to successfully take the initiative, so compared to this outcome that has been seen through, the various powerful ninjutsu on the sealing technique are more worthy of calculation. Although some ninjutsu from the Book of Sealings were found at the root base before, there are still many famous ninjutsu that have not been collected. Maybe Danzo didn't get them, or he gave up because he felt that no one could successfully practice them, collected. For example, in the Book of Flying Thunder God, apart from the second-generation Hokage Senju Tobarama who created him, only Minato Namikaze has completely learned it. This is enough to show that not everyone can learn the ninjutsu in the Book of Sealing. Danzo Shimura, this pragmatist, will naturally not bother to use it as a collection. Therefore, Uchiha Nanhi did not hesitate and made a plan to steal the house. When Hiruzen Sarutobi and Danzo Shimura, along with most of the elite Anbu and root ninjas, went to ambush Uchiha Obito, Uchiha Nenga also set out to ambush the Hokage building. After receiving the information about their attack on Uchiha Obito, Uchiha Nenga also took the time to enter the sealed book storage room and directly obtained the sealed book. Moreover, in order to gain some practical experience, Uchiha Minagawa did not choose to leave directly, and directly fought head-on with the ninjas who knew that someone was invading because they triggered the warning trap. With Sarutobi Hiruzen deploying a large number of guard forces, Uchiha Minagawa killed it very easily. Has the fight over there been finished? It ended so hastily. Uchiha Itachi obviously also took action, and with the strength and experience of Hiruzen Sarutobi as the Hokage, he made such a targeted attack in advance. The arrangement actually didn't even force Obito Uchiha's Izanagi out, but instead made our own side so embarrassed. As expected of you, Sarutobi Hiruzen, who is an expert in civil war and an outsider in external warfare, but I didn't expect Uchiha Itachi to be so estranged. Is there some consensus reached in the Tsukuyomi space? It seems that we still can't be underestimated. These people with extraordinary combat IQ can immediately sense clues once they find them. However, you are not of the same mind after all. In the original book, you were wary of each other. Even if you died, you would have plotted against each other. Now even if you find out that I have plotted against you, you will not be able to put down your grudge and deal with me wholeheartedly. In addition, Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't take any action from the beginning to the end. Maybe they are also aware of my existence. Although he understood the truth after this game, Uchiha Minami, who was no longer what he used to be, did not show any nervousness at all. After a brief thought, he guessed their next action plan. It was nothing more than the three parties joining forces to inform Uchiha in advance. Wave your hands and force me to show up. The current situation is already imminent. Instead of trying to decipher their various plans, it is better to use the newly obtained sealed book to improve one's ability to deal with the enemy. In the final analysis, this world still depends on whose fist is bigger. Strength is the foundation. As long as I am strong enough, no matter how my opponent plots, I will defeat him with one punch. Putting aside the fact that Uchiha Minagawa had gained a lot and doubled his training, Sarutobi Hiruzen and his party finally rushed back to the Hokage building with ugly faces. They saw that all the ninjas who stayed behind at the Hokage building were injured, and there were more than a dozen people lying on the ground. A dead Anbu corpse. Even Hiruzen Sarutobi, who always maintains a kind expression, has an angry look on his face and bursts out with powerful chakra. Mitoman Yan, tell me, what happened here? And where is Kaharu, who has transferred to another bed? Where did she go? Although the furious Sarutobi Hiruzen suppressed his anger, he still directly began to question Mito Kadeni, who was staying behind, by using the other person's full name. The Anbu around him did not dare to speak at the moment, and even their heavy breathing did not slow down. Even Shimura Danzo, who had always been a hardliner, looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen in shock, with a hint of fear in his eyes. Hiruzen, Danzo, you are finally back. Kaharu was injured and is now receiving treatment. Not long after you left, the masked man invaded the Hokage building and took away the Book of Sealing. Although we tried our best to stop him, however, the guards at the Hokage building were really not strong enough, so they still let him run away, and Kaharu was also injured at that time. It was also the first time for Mito Keitoyan to see such an angry side of Hiruzen Sarutobi. Even during the Nine Tails Rebellion, as the Hokage, he could deal with it calmly, so Mito Kadoba also strengthened their resistance by one high. But Shimura Danzo understood that the reason Sarutobi Hiruzen was so calm back then was just because he was not in the position of Hokage and didn't have to fight for it. Anyway, there is Minato Namikaze, the Hokage, standing in front of him. Even if Minato Namikaze, who sometimes has space ninjutsu and is proficient in sealing techniques, can't deal with the Kyuubi, and the zombie seal he gave to Minato as a trump card, of course he won't panic at all. If the Flying Thunder God's sealing technique is successful, he will continue to listen to the government behind the curtain, and if the zombies are successfully sealed, he will continue to be Hokage. No matter what, his power will not be affected. Thinking of this, Danzo Shimura became even more wary of Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage. Seeing the opportunity right in front of him, he immediately jumped out to accuse Hiruzen Sarutobi. HMPH, Sarutobi, you left such a loophole to the enemy. You will be fully responsible for the attack on the Hokage building and the theft of the sealed book. Suddenly hearing Danzo's accusation, Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression became even more gloomy. That's enough. Danzo, you're still here to fight for power at this time. The masked man who invaded the Hokage building this time should be the one who invaded your roots yesterday. There are such big flaws in the information you provided. It's hard for you to suffer this loss. Take the blame. Sarutobi Hiruzen sternly scolded Danzo Ichimura Shimura, and blamed all the fruits of the Hokage building on Danzo's false information about his abolition. He also wanted to take the opportunity to weaken part of Danzo's power as a way to punish him. It was an out-of-line behavior, but when he thought that Danzo still needed to do Uchiha's dirty work, he gave up and felt comforted. Okay, now is not the time to hold Sweat responsible. The top priority is to find this masked man who is causing trouble everywhere. Otherwise, something more serious may happen. Danzo still followed his example and was speechless for a moment, feeling angry in his heart. You are a leaf bathed in the sun, and I am a root buried deep in the darkness. One day, I will become Hokage. Sarutobi, you will regret it. Regarding Shimura Danzo's awareness of being the root of darkness as always, the third Hokage nodded with satisfaction, and a kind face once again occupied his face. So, the current situation is that there is probably a pair of space-type Mangekyo Sharingan hidden among the Uchiha clan. Judging from the actions of this pair of kaleidoscopes during this period, its owner is probably a member of the Uchiha rebellion. One party even discovered our surveillance and restrictions on the Uchiha clan. Seeing that the atmosphere had relaxed somewhat, Sarutobi Hiruzen's tone was no longer so harsh, but he was still analyzing the current situation heavily. Hiruzen, although your analysis makes sense, don't forget that each Uchiha's Mangekyo Eye technique is unique. Can that special space-time eye technique be imitated at will? Furthermore, the clone technique like shadow clone is not a rare ninjutsu at all. Therefore, these two attacks cannot be ruled out as being caused by the masked man who calls himself Uchiha Madara. Well, being strong is Sarutobi, and being timid is Hiruzen. Seeing Sarutobi Hiruzen soften his tone, Shimura Danzo also breathed a sigh of relief, and then he expressed his opinion, and his daily fault-finding temper emerged again. The clone technique is unlikely. Itachi used a kaleidoscope to attack, and since we are also nearby, you must be able to tell that there cannot be a clone over there. There are Kato Yan and Koharu here in the Hokage building, as well as so many elite ninjas. The intensity of the battle is also quite high. It is impossible for the clones to withstand such an intense battle without collapsing, so they cannot be the same person. Sarutobi Hiruzen was also used to Shimura Danzo's way of speaking, and patiently gave his judgment. Hearing this, Mito Keitoyan also refuted Shimura Danzo. I can confirm that the masked man here is the real person. We have no idea how he appeared in the room where the sealed book is stored. It wasn't until he triggered the warning trap on the sealed book that we discovered that we had been invaded. So the masked man here should also have a space-type Mangekyo Sharingan. Just kidding, if you think that the Hokage building is just a clone and make them so embarrassed, wouldn't it look like Mito Kato and others are useless, so Mito Kato quickly came out to clarify. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo didn't care about Mito Kaiden's excuse. They knew very well what level these two old friends were. They didn't have much hope for them to help in combat, but for the old friend's judgment ability is relatively recognized by them. It's actually like this. It seems that another Mangekyo Sharingan has really appeared in the Uchiha clan. Uchiha, they are really a clan loved by God. Their bloodline is so deep. Not to mention the masked man before, there are Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi in recent times, plus the owner of the Mangekyo Sharingan. Every once in a while, Uchiha will suddenly have a Mangekyo Sharingan. The awakened ones, this kind of unstable force that is emerging one after another, must eliminate this hidden danger as soon as possible. Hiruzen can no longer hesitate. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Danzo Shimura did not care at all that Uchiha Itachi was at the scene, and immediately promoted his theory of the Uchiha threat, thereby forcing Sarutobi Hiruzen to make up his mind to get rid of the Uchiha clan. Shut up, Danzo. Uchiha is also a part of Konoha. As Hokage, I will definitely find a way to balance the conflict between the village and Uchiha. You can't act on your own. No matter at any time, Sarutobi Hiruzen will show his ability as a Hokage in front of his subordinates, not to mention that Uchiha Itachi is at the scene, and the third Hokage will make this image deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. HMPH, Hiruzen, you are too weak. Today's Uchiha are planning a military coup. If Shisui hadn't disappeared, they would have taken action long ago. Do you have to wait for them to take action before you fight back? You must know that other ninja villages will not sit idly by. If the time comes, the whole body will be affected. The Fourth Ninja World War will probably break out in advance. How will we in Konoha deal with it then? As long as we take action in advance, we can ensure the vitality of Konoha as much as possible, so that other ninja villages will not have any chance. Only then will we live up to the responsibility of protecting Konoha entrusted to us by our ancestors. Seeing that Hiruzen Sarutobi was indecisive again, Shimura Danzo seized Hiruzen Sarutobi as Hokage. He must protect the peace of Konoha as the top priority. In addition, Hiruzen Sarutobi was used to compromising character. This gave him the opportunity to force Hiruzen Sarutobi. If Zan takes action, even if he doesn't take action directly, he will at least tacitly agree to get rid of the Uchiha clan. Yes, Hiruzen, the current Uchiha is no longer the Uchiha of Konoha. Once the rebellion breaks out, even if we successfully suppress the Uchiha clan, Konoha's power will be greatly affected. This will let Konoha be exposed to the clouds of war in other countries. Sarutobi Hiruzen also had a look on his face, but when he thought that the annihilation of such a powerful Uchiha actually weakened Konoha in disguise, he was still a little reluctant and had to continue fighting with Nini. Even if there was no other way in the end, he believed that Danzo Shimura and Danzo Uchiha Itachi will also deal with this trouble. Since he cannot change it, he will continue to maintain his positive image as Hokage. That's enough, Danzo, Monoyan, I will never let this happen. Where the leaves are flying, the fire is endless. I will find a way to appease the Uchiha clan, especially you, Danzo, don't act rashly, this is an order, remember that I am the Hokage. Upon hearing Sarutobi Hiruzen's unquestionable order, Shimura Danzo responded with unusual anger. You will regret it, Sun Zan. Without further persuasion, he dropped the tacit closing words and then slammed the door and left. Hiruzen, you. Seeing Danzo Shimura walking away in anger, Mito Katoin hesitated slightly and wanted to continue to persuade him, but before he could speak, he was interrupted by Hiruzen Sarutobi. Okay, Men Yan, that's it for now. I will take care of it. The most important thing now is to restore the normal operation of the Hokage building. I will leave this matter to you. In addition, since the invasion of the Hokage's building has occurred, I still need to give an explanation to the other ninjas in the village. Notify the major families and Jonin to hold a meeting at the Hokage's office tomorrow. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not give Mito Katoin a chance to continue persuading him, and then turned his attention to Uchiha Itachi, who had been silent. Itachi, don't worry, I promise you as Hokage that I will definitely coordinate the conflicts between the village and Uchiha. You have worked hard for today's actions. I will not arrange other tasks for you in the future. Go back and rest. Yes, please excuse me, Hokage-sama, I will try my best. Uchiha Itachi could see that the senior elders no longer trusted him, so he half knelt down respectfully, saying that he would continue to solve Uchiha's problems, and then accepted the order and left. Seeing Uchiha Itachi's leaving figure, Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes became profound. He walked to the window and looked in the direction of the Uchiha clan, took out his pipe and started smoking silently. I was busy until midnight, and the originally bright moonlight in the sky was obscured by dark clouds, as if it foreshadowed that something bad was about to happen. As soon as Itachi Uchiha walked out of the Hokage building, he met Danzo Shimura who had been waiting here. Danzo Shimura, like the original work, describes what happens when the third Hokage actually just talks nicely. He will protect Konoha at all costs. In that case, Sarutobi Hiruzen, as the Hokage, will do whatever it takes. Even if he takes extreme measures to start a war, he will wipe out the rebellious Uchiha clan. At the same time, it also includes Uchiha Itachi's unknowing brother Uchiha Sasuke, so it is suggested that Uchiha Itachi can prevent all this in advance. As long as he assists him in destroying Uchiha in advance, at least his brother can be saved, and Konoha will also take good care of Uchiha. Hasa Sasuke's. Faced with Shimura Danzo's persecution and Uchiha Obito's proposal, Uchiha Itachi also made up his mind and agreed with Shimura Danzo to take action tomorrow night, but he must protect the safety of his brother. In the evening of the next day, in the Uchiha clan area of Konoha village, Nankawa River. The setting sun was like blood. Uchiha Itachi, who was standing next to Nanga Shrine, looked at the sunset exuding the last glory with a little sadness, as if he saw the Uchiha in its heyday about to usher in its final madness, and Uchiha Itachi too. I felt like a drowning person, oppressed by invisible fate and unable to breathe, and an inexplicable emptiness and loneliness arose in my heart. As the space distorted, Uchiha Obito's figure quietly appeared behind Uchiha Itachi who was waiting here. Seeing Uchiha Itachi in such a state, he did not disturb him and waited silently. While waiting, I don't know whether it was due to Uchiha Itachi's emotions or because he was moved by the situation. At this time, Uchiha Obito also thought of his time in Konoha village when he was a boy, the enthusiastic boy who could never go back, the one who was always late. Shadow of innocence. Grandma, Teacher Minato, Sister Kushina, and Lin, just wait, it won't be long, I will definitely create a world with you, where we will meet again, just like before, and be happy forever life together. After a little recollection, Uchiha Obito broke away from this useless memory. As long as his plan succeeds, all of this will come true. There is no need to be sentimental here. After gathering his mood, Uchiha Obito did not care about Uchiha Itachi's mood and directly broke the quiet scene. Uchiha Itachi, I am indeed right about you. If you surpass the capabilities of a clan, you will definitely achieve extraordinary things. Facing Uchiha Itachi, who had come here early to wait, Uchiha Obito was the first to speak with appreciation, as if he didn't care at all about the unpleasantness that broke out between the two before. In Uchiha Obito's view, Uchiha Itachi is a person who has jumped out of the narrow thinking among ninjas such as relatives and clansmen. His pursuit is greater power and the ambition to stand in the ninja world. This kind of person is both in terms of strength and in terms of character. He will definitely play an important role in completing the Akatsuki organization's plan. Madara, the person pretending to be you last night, took advantage of our confrontation to attack the Hokage building again and stole the sealed book. Uchiha Itachi didn't care about the masked man's praise. He didn't have the slightest emotion to deal with the fact that every move he made was planned by the other party, as if he was describing a normal thing. After all, for the current Uchiha Itachi, what could be more heartbreaking and sentimental than having to slaughter his own clan with his own hands? Haha, it seems that our actions are completely the result of the other party's calculations. However, no matter how many little tricks he makes, we only need to know that he is a member of the Uchiha clan and that he still cares about Uchiha. This is enough. Uchiha Obito was not as calm as Uchiha Itachi. Faced with being repeatedly plotted against, he felt extremely angry. He didn't know how much information the other party knew about him. This made Uchiha Obito's murderous intention towards the other party even more intense. His tone was also a bit colder. Feeling the killing intent emanating from the masked man, Uchiha Itachi's eyes flickered and he spoke immediately. In that case, let's start now, we will always force him out. After saying that, regardless of whether the masked man responded, he turned around silently, drew out the short sword on his back, and quietly opened the Sharingan in his eyes, heading towards the interior of the clan. Haha, as expected of you, you are so cold and decisive. Are you pretending to be plotting against me? Just let me see who you really are. How many abilities do you have? Staring at Uchiha Itachi's back, Uchiha Obito's one eye under the mask narrowed slightly. How could he not know that this was the other party deliberately provoking his anger so that he could confront that person and try to find out who he was? With his strength, if the other party really succeeds, I'm afraid he will be the next one to be besieged. Uchiha Obito chuckled, not paying attention to Uchiha Itachi's little move, and then his whole body merged into the space vortex again. Just when Uchiha Itachi and the two started taking action, Uchiha Nanga, who had been recuperating at home, also received the news immediately. Nowadays, countless spores have been buried by Uchiha Minami in the entire Uchiha clan. As the gathering place of Uchiha, there are also stone tablets left by the Six Paths Sage. Nanga Shrine is naturally the focus of Uchiha Minami. Focus on goals. Although the night of genocide came unexpectedly quickly, now that it has developed to this point, the only way left is frontal confrontation. Moreover, Uchiha Nanga's strength has already been formed, and he is not afraid of exposing anything. He just lacks a little combat experience, but he has the virtual pupil technique as a trump card. Even if an unexpected situation occurs, Izanagi can be used as a last resort. He is in an invincible position by nature. Therefore, feeling that Uchiha Itachi and the others had started to take action, they immediately set off in the direction of Managa Shrine. Fortunately, Uchiha Minagawa lived nearby, but he arrived at the scene in a short time. As soon as they arrived in this area, several people had already fallen under the butchering knives of Itachi and Uchiha. The killings of the two also attracted the attention of nearby Uchiha ninjas. Each of them stared at the Sharingan while using ninjutsu to resist, while angrily yelling at Uchiha Itachi. But their strength was obviously no match for the two of them, and they saw another clan member in danger. Fire escaped the art of fire dragon. Suddenly, an angry cold shout sounded, and then a huge dragon-shaped fire dragon descended from the sky, forcefully forcing Uchiha Itachi back from continuing his killing spree. The masked man Uchiha Obito felt the aura of a strong man on the young man who appeared, and he was also slightly interested in observing it, waiting for Uchiha Itachi to test the other person's quality in order to judge whether the other person was worth winning over. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.